for the Lord.
What is going on YouTube and Twitch? Jason Craze in the house.
Hello.
Monument Hobbies here.
Hello.
Jason, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. We have this very high-tech jug of purple power.
I'm not even noticing that it is like right front and center, right?
Just kind of holding up our tablet here so we can read chats from both places.
Hey, Scott, you know what you should do? You should unmute your lav.
Maybe you should have told me to do that beforehand, hey?
Hey, listen,
Audio test?
I did an audio check for him. I assumed that the guy that does this on a regular basis would know what he's doing.
Hi, gang. We've turned Scott off today.
What's going on YouTube and Twitch? I think, I have a lot of guests that visit here in the studio. And I think when we do that, I'd like to do kind of like the bigger, cooler Twitch streams to YouTube as well. So we're trying this out for the first time. Let us know if you guys are enjoying it. Weird Bear with the sub saying purple power.
I also want to call out Lovable Oaf, who streamed during our countdown, and Just Seppuku and Paint Liquor as well.
Thank you guys. Appreciate the sub.
Wait a minute. Richard, I am not Daddy J. This is not a.
Daddy J.
This is not an acceptable name.
Daddy J?
See?
Daddy J.
Daddy J.
Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Oh, okay, it does make sense. That's your name for the rest of the weekend. Thank you, Richard. Appreciate that. Wad Tomato Ton, thank you for the sub. Appreciate it.
That's Tom.
Tom?
Quad Tomato in.
Oh, okay. Okay, Tomaton.
It's Wad
Tomaton.
Wad
Okay.
Tomaton.
Okay.
Jen-tastic. She's cute.
Oh, is that the
The wonderful Jen.
wonderful Jen? Is she your wife or no?
She has not proposed yet.
Okay, you're waiting for that.
Yeah, she's a spendthrift. She won't get me a good ring, so. We celebrated our 9th anniversary yesterday, though.
Oh, wow, congratulations.
Pretty cool. Went out to a nice dinner. Had a lot of neat things to talk about. Can imagine being business owners together that it's kind of how the world works.
Yeah. Hey, Evan, can you turn your mic down?
My mic?
Yeah.
My mic is fine.
It's too loud.
No, it's not.
I've heard it in VODs. It is. So yeah, I'm painting my Cawdor guys today. Right now I'm in like a narrative campaign for Cawdor. Played my first game, let's see, 2 days ago, versus Dan's Subjugator. Dan from The Source is one of the managers there. We pulled out a W. Dan was not a fan of my use of smoke grenades, because Dan's got a lot of guns. You know, he's got bolters and snipers and all these things. And
So being able to see is a crucial thing?
yeah, and I'm a bunch
My
of
understanding
hobos.
is that you may or may not have cheated on how smoke
Oh,
grenades work.
no, I, at no point was it really that much of an issue. We thought the smoke went like as high as like the sky, but it only goes 2.5 inches. There was one moment where he could have shot me probably, but otherwise I was kind of just hugging the smoke grenades. And so
One
that
pivotal
kinda
moment.
worked out.
Got it.
Jason, how does one get wizard's butt?
Well, I'll tell you.
Okay, I'm concerned about this. Is there a paint called wizard's butt? What is going on? Can we get the paint cam going here?
Sure.
What is this? Why is it yellow?
Well, you never know exactly what, like, okay, so what color is a wizard's butt?
Probably a skin tone.
Maybe.
What kind of wizard are we talking?
A normal wizard?
Wizard's butt is a magical color, Scott.
Okay.
It can be whatever you want it to be.
Is that where they derive their power?
So we believe so. We have
We
not,
at Monument Hobbies
we have
believe
not,
so.
we believe so. We have, there's wizard's butt.
It's gonna go right there for the rest of the stream.
It's wizard's butt. It's actually, so the funny thing about wizard's butt is there were only like, I don't know, 15 of these made. We gave them away on our Christmas stream. So there's only like 10 or 12 people in the world that have this other than us in the studio. We custom hand mix a color every now and then, and we just have this generic, the SKU number is MPA butt.
NBA butt, yeah, I just saw that.
It's the SKU number is butt, right? So we make wizard's butt, but every time we make it, it's a different color. So you could have literally 20 bottles of wizard's butt over the years, and none of them would be the same.
Can I order a custom set of Pro Acryl that labels are all just replaced with wizard butt?
Just
it's the normal range.
Your whole collection is
But the
just
entire
wizard's butt.
it's useless as you're looking through what color is this? Oh, this is also wizard's
This is
butt.
also wizard's butt.
Big, perfect, because like at paint night, someone wants to borrow a color, and I'm like, yeah, I've got a burgundy. Hand them wizard's butt.
And B's like, all hail wizard's butt.
Yeah.
Where's my third dude? You stealing guys from me?
Well, I was hungry.
Oh, no. He's...
Well, I know where the other two are. I'm not moving my feet. I'm not moving my feet.
Some poster tack is in order.
I'm not moving my feet.
All right, well, a guy lost his arms. That's okay.
I'm not moving my feet.
I could just bring you the clamp. You could clamp it to that desk.
I bet this desk is too thick for those little baby
Oh,
for
yeah,
that
that's
thing?
true. Because that desk isn't a desk; it's a door.
Look at that poster tack, baby. Solves the world's problems. It's like WD-40 and freaking duct tape.
Absolutely. We're gonna keep that off because you know what? It's in the way anyways. All right, back to painting. If you're here on YouTube for the first time and you didn't know what I was doing with these guys, I was trying out Duncan Rhodes' Too Thin Coats range. So far, all I've been using on the models is Too Thin Coats. And because of that, I had a nice zenithal undercoat set up to work from. And so Duncan doesn't make any like contrast paint equivalent. So today I am messing around with some express paints to kind of get the right brown color. And so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just doing it for the brown leather portion, and then I'll go back to use Duncan's paints.
Yeah, the brown leather looks good.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Can you use my camera in, Evan?
Sure.
Thank you. All right. This is the guy who just lost his arms. But yeah, about Dan and smoke grenades. I got a bunch of hobos with fire sticks. Okay, I can't really compete with bolters and snipers, so the smoke grenades are necessary. And what are you painting, Jason?
I'm painting one of our new texture trainers.
Okay.
It is a resin model that we do. We design and sculpt and print these out at the shop, and you can buy them on the site. And it's a neat practice model, but it's also just a fun model to paint. It's a relief sculpt, so it's only half a bust. So it's a lazy man's bust. You only have to paint the front.
Okay, but you have a nice little reason for it to be half a bust. You didn't just like cut a model in half. It's like a nice little medallion on the back.
Yeah, so it's got the Monument logo on the back. It's also something that you could we want to start a whole trend where when you finish painting models, you put them on the refrigerator as a magnet.
Oh, cool. I like that. So I asked you earlier how people were meant to display that, and you did have an answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, you can do it like a refrigerator magnet, or put it on one of those little those what are they? I don't even know what they're called. Like a little easel stand.
Okay, yeah,
Something like that. Not your traditional, but you had a great idea. Scott had a great idea to drill out the bottom and just have it go on a plinth, because it would look good on a plinth as well.
I don't know why some bus companies do this nowadays, but not all of them. You could ship the model with a pin and a matching drilled hole. You could just sculpt the pin into the model oversized so that you could trim it to length, however you wanted.
Yeah, mount it however you want.
Yeah. Has anyone used express paints out there, and do you know if they have just a standard black? All I'm finding is this, I think it's called Black Lotus. Yeah, this Black Lotus paint, which is kind of blue. I don't want a blue black. I want just kind of like an ashen gray one. Let me know in the chat if anyone knows if I'm just being a dingus. All right, I love models that are just covered in straps. It's my favorite thing to paint.
All those doohickeys.
Yeah.
It's like one of the things in the world of digital sculpting that's being such a disaster.
Yes.
Is that the digital sculptor can just go ham. All he has to do is open up another folder and grab the asset and
Yeah,
put it on the model. It's like, look at all the things I can do!
Copy, paste that thing.
And then we get it, and our soul gets sucked out our smallest orifice as we figure out how to paint all those doohickeys.
Yeah, I can't, at the moment, I'm painting this guy's leg. I can't tell what's skin, I can't tell what's a strap. So I'll just douse it all in this stuff, and then I'll come back later with some actual acrylic paint and fix it up. Cody Pinard says that he's 100 in on the fridge magnet models. Nice. Mount it on a chain and wear it. Oh, nice.
You could just blast this with like Home Depot like gold spray paint, like 8 coats, and then varnish it, and then put it on a Flava Flav chain. That I know what I'm doing at Adepticon.
Oh my gosh.
Jen, make it happen.
That shouldn't be too hard, honestly. You can get the chain from Home Depot too.
I was gonna say, it's thick enough that we could probably make that work really well.
Yeah.
Because we can like actually like tap some short screws into it.
Hospitaller black.
Okay, so there is another black.
Yeah, but it might be part of the expanded express colors.
Oh, okay.
I'm not positive.
Okay. I mean, I can dive a little bit deeper here. This is a blue. Oh, this is Omega blue. I love that color. That color is great.
Athletics over on YouTube. Looking forward to using the new fluorescent paints. They're awesome. They're awesome. It took us a long time to come out with paints like that. And that's my fault, because I come up with all the paint ideas, and I'm kind of an old dog with no new tricks. So fluorescents are something I don't use a ton, but when you do use them, you need them to work like exactly the way you want to, because it's mostly for like OSL, right, and lighting effects. And so that's not very forgiving, because that comes at a point in the model where you really got to, you get butt puckering when you do your OSL over a really nice paint job. So it took us a while to come up with a paint I was really happy with, but they're really great.
Pulsegate Gaming asks, so right now I have 585 subscribers to my YouTube channel. Any advice on making my channel grow? Man, there's so many pieces of advice I could give you about growth, but really what it comes down to is identifying what your target audience is, who you are making videos for, describing their age, what kind of content they like to watch, what kind of buying habits they have, and then making content for that particular person consistently. And also injecting your personality into it, because no one can really duplicate your personality. So I think those are basically the highlights. But there's a lot that comes. There's a lot to know when running a YouTube channel. But honestly, when you're just starting, you don't really have to concern yourself with it. Just let the love of content creation and that energy just fuel the process. And then if it comes, it comes.
Sean Clark, thank you for helping out and joining our little family.
Do you have any cool like Monument Hobbies products that you brought to show off today?
Yeah. But I wasn't very purposeful about it. I'm a very bad marketing guy.
Only if you want to. Only if you want to.
I mean, that medallion is a new product.
We have the new case. This whole case that I'm painting with. Not really. It's not really easy to show off.
Do you want to show it off?
I can.
I mean, like,
we have.
I have a mini painting channel. You make mini painting products. It seems like a match made in heaven.
It's like a match made in heaven. We have this. If you're familiar with our Go Bag, our Monument Go Bag Evo is a very large painting workstation that you can carry with. It holds 96 paints. But we have the new edition coming out. It actually comes out this month. I think I'm hung up on something back here. Where am I hung up on? Yeah. But we have this amazing thing.
Okay.
So it is. Ta-da! It's a half-size one. Holds 48 paints. It's got a palette. It's got the front flap has elastic bands that can hold your wet palette. 48 paints. It's got a section underneath that fits our brush case. I've got my Monument brush case, so you can bring your 10 brushes or other tools and stuff that you want to slide underneath there. We also have a new sidecar. It's a bottle holder. It holds like an Nalgene bottle, but I throw my headphones in there when I travel. And then it's got a big storage area on the back.
Okay, and it stands up by itself.
Oh yeah, the whole
presents the paints to you on a nice little angled face.
Yeah, you can kind of see.
Okay.
Just like the Evo, the Go Bag Evo when I designed it was just for that. It was meant twofold for people that travel a lot and want to be able to, when you get there, just unzip and deploy your paints and not have to figure out where to put your boxes and stuff. This just goes on the table and you just paint. But also, you had to be self-supportive so that if you use it on a kitchen table or something, it doesn't take up a ton of space.
Okay, that's
and
thoughtful.
you can just zip it up and shove it under the bed or in the closet and you're done. So for people that don't have dedicated workspace, it works great, but then it's got a huge pocket in the back there. So
Airfoil UK says, wanted to say a big thank you. About 6 months ago, I ditched all of my GW and Vallejo paints and bought the whole Pro Acryl range. Best move I did in painting progression.
Well, that's awesome.
Hashtag not Ned.
Thank you. We love that story.
I bet you do. Yeah, a lot of love for Monument Hobbies paints in the chat. Also got stuff from Cornflake Justice. Thank you for the sub. Yeah, the front area definitely is perfect for a wet palette. Nice flat thing. Also could fit a codex in there.
Yeah.
A book, a notepad for keeping notes of what you're painting.
Yeah, like I just flew in today, so the paint tray comes out and I put it in my checked luggage. And then, of course, now you have that big well to put whatever you want. So I put the BattleTech books in there that I brought for our game and stuff like that. And then you just swap it out when you get where you're going.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually, to mention. Tomorrow, we're not going to be streaming this to YouTube, but to Twitch. Sometime in the late afternoon, I think probably like 1 or 2 p.m., we're going to be playing BattleTech over on Twitch. Jason brought 2 painted forces and terrain.
I didn't bring any terrain because the map has all the terrain on it, and I thought at the last minute because I forgot
That's fine.
Yeah, the standard map. I didn't want to get too crazy.
That's totally fine.
We'll go with the not slap you too hard with the elevation and terrain makes all the difference in BattleTech. It's not like other games where it just looks pretty.
Okay.
It makes a difference.
So all you BattleTech lovers out there that have been waiting for me to try it out and play the game,
It's coming.
tomorrow is the reckoning.
It's coming.
Then I can finally say that I hate BattleTech. No, I'm just kidding.
And be honest about it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
People won't be like, liar.
I will 100%.
You can now have a story to back up why
Yeah.
you think it's an old crusty man game.
I mean, it could
The
be an
best
awesome
games
game.
are old crusty man games.
That's kind of true, honestly.
What's that?
The best games are old crusty man games.
Sometimes. I got to be honest though, I don't play BattleTech at its full rule set. You know,
Like even when you're playing with someone else.
Nah, it's too crunchy. I like it at a very kind of drilled down level.
Is there
which
like a
role
certain
play.
version, or is it like this is like special Jason blend?
No, it's no house rules even. It's just BattleTech is a really great game because you can decide what rules you want to play with, and just play with those rules and it doesn't break the game.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Wow.
So if you don't want to play with vehicle rules or skidding rules, you know, for when you're running on a street and then you stop and change directions, you got to make a piloting check or you skid off the road. If you don't want to play with that stuff, it doesn't really change anything tactically. It can still be a super fun game. But if you want to add in more of that pseudo realism to it, you can. Mm-hmm. So I know lots of people that want to get super crunchy with it, and they do.
Okay. I
typically find that I would rather play a game that moves pretty quick. So I don't feel like I've spent 3 hours of my life, or in the terms of a big BattleTech one, like 8 hours of your life. So we can play pretty quick.
Is that would you say that BattleTech is your favorite game?
Oh boy.
Or do you have other favorite games? Or is like what are you playing the most of right now?
Boy, that's really hard.
Or do you play a lot of games?
I don't play a lot of games. I paint, right? So me, I'm a hobbyist first, really, is the best way I can say it. And then games are just a component of my hobbying. Okay. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
And then But as far as games and rule sets go, I'm a big fan of the bolt action rule set. It's tough to get games because it's a historic World War II game.
Because it's a crusty old man game. It's really good.
Kind of like a crusty old man game, but not really. They're trying to make World War II historic games not crusty old man game with bolt action. That's what makes it so great. But yes, it's a world that is crusty old man attentive.
I mean, it's definitely still a crusty old man game. It's just not as crusty of a crusty old man
game. And yeah, so I really like that rule set. But I really love Adeptus Titanicus.
Oh, wow, okay.
Fantastic game.
Did not expect to hear that.
It's one of the best rule sets GW's ever done, in my opinion.
Oh. People often let Kill Team have that title.
Yep. Yeah, I think a Titanicus takes it.
Okay.
It's a fantastic game. And again, it can be as beer and pretzels as you want, or it can be nitty gritty. You can do some really cool stuff with it.
Okay.
I've been enjoying the hell out of Blood Bowl recently.
Evan just recently played 10 miniature war games that he's never played before in a week.
That's awesome, dude.
His experience just grew by a factor of 3 in a week?
Actually really
yeah, it's amazing.
I play a lot of very few war games. I don't normally expand my horizons that rapidly.
I know.
That's really cool. Yeah, I don't play enough to really give you tremendous breakdowns. I've been a big Warhammer Fantasy fan. Old World doesn't intrigue me much.
Why doesn't it intrigue you?
Been there, done that. I feel like, I don't know. I'm a grumpy old man when it comes to that stuff. I'm like, why didn't you just leave it alone?
Oh, also Blood Bowl related. I officially did make the playoffs.
Congratulations.
Second out of 8.
Nice.
So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sean Clark is saying that the best game that GW makes is the Middle Earth strategy battle game.
Okay, also correct, right? Lord of the Rings is a fantastic game. I will go with you there.
I've heard people say that as well. I mean, then again, anyone's going to say that their favorite game is their favorite game in that GW makes. But I have heard
not just their favorite game. Their favorite game is the best game.
Of course, yes.
That's how it works.
But I have heard a lot of people say that the Lord of the Rings games are super good. So it's not just Sean Murray.
They are really, really good. The rules are really, really good.
I remember back in the day, that was the first game I ever played from GW. And it's an army-based war game, but you activate one dude at a time. And that just sounds awful. That sounds like an awful way to play a war game, if I'm being totally honest. But I haven't played in 15 years, so I'm sure the game has changed quite a bit.
I demoed that in the middle of last year, and I enjoyed it a lot. So
you enjoyed the Lord of the Rings game?
I did, yeah.
Okay, and the forces aren't too big, Jason, you said?
They're not super big. Obviously, you can play it at whatever point size you want, but it plays really, really well as a small skirmish game.
Okay.
With 1 or 2 commander-style guys and their retinues. Because the way that game plays is that each one of your heroes has points depending on what type of hero he is. And that allows you to spend for, the other grunt level guys.
Okay.
Crib Shadow says, new YouTube video idea. Miniac paints an entire Middle-earth army to play his childhood first war game.
Absolutely, dude. I would paint some Mirkwoodian elves in a fucking heartbeat. Also, someone in chat said, based Khador enjoyer? That's fucking me! Absolutely! Absolutely. I fucking love Khador.
They're great.
Insane.
Visually, they're my favorite of the Necromunda gangs.
Yeah, dude. I love Khador and Delac. I think visually those two are awesome.
Is Delac the rich guys?
I don't know. Those are the old... Those are... No.
Which ones are the ones with all the high-tech stuff?
Yeah, the old dudes with from ponytails and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, someone in chat help us out here. What's the name of that?
You mean Van Sar?
Van Sar.
Van Sar, yeah. I just remember them. They had all the tech.
Yeah. They're we have a guy, Schaefer's running our Necromunda campaign.
Oh, John, yep.
And he's a great person to run your campaign. And he was like, yeah, Van Sar typically can come out of the gates a little overpowered just because of all the tech they have access to. But no one's playing them. No one shows them in our league. We have, I think, 8 players. So
there, Scott, I'm done with my model. What's taking you so long? I painted mine like Schwarzenegger and Predator.
Just in black tar.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just watched that movie for the first time like 2 years ago.
It's in the trees. See, painting is fun. You can get models knocked out that quick. All right, I'm done. I'm out. Bye.
All right. Back to Arizona.
Truly, the airbrush is a powerful weapon. Just paint it black. Boom, done.
Paint it black. It's in the trees. Get to the chopper.
Jason, what is that medallion type mini going to be called when it's actually
It's a texture trainer. Scott's got one of the boxed ones. You can get them on the site right now. We call it a texture trainer. This one's just called the Warrior.
Oh, it's up.
They're very generic. The idea behind them being that we have made them with Yeah, that's one we painted on stream. You know, they're good size. One of the biggest things that we tell people is that as you go up in scale with painting, you get to really explore new lighting and texture and material styles, because, you know, when painting something like these COD or what we even mechs and, you know, anything in that kind of 30 millimeter range, you know, you might have leather boots, but you don't get to spend a whole lot of time really painting leather texture, right? Because you don't have that much space. Some people really get down and dirty and do it great. But, you know, for us normal mortals, you know, having a larger model makes sense, but then you get into larger busts and they're very daunting because they usually have too much. And so I know a lot of people buy busts and put them on the shelf expecting to paint them, and they just gather dust.
Yeah.
So my goal with the texture trainers was literally to just create a model that you could feel comfortable buying. They're $20.
Yeah, they're cheap.
Yeah, they're $20. We're going to make 4 of them. We might continue making styles of them, but the idea is to make them to where they really do have textures to focus on. Like she's got skin, hair. It's meant in my design to be a stone axe, but you can paint it as metal. Obviously some metal, padded cloth, leather, you know, leather as a bag, dagger, a little bit of wood handle on the axe, things like that. So you've got the cape. So you've got a lot of material and texture you can play around with. And my goal and my hope was that they were cost effective enough that you could buy this, and this could just be your, you know, practice model. So if you wanted to practice non-metallic metal, you know, you've got a lot on here that you can practice with that has some cool shapes that aren't super over the top. There's not a whole lot of detail on here, but enough to really make it feel good. And so you can just kind of go for it. You want to learn how to paint hair and fur. She's got a fur collar on her coat.
Can you make one inspired by the concept of green army men for me, just for the meme?
Just green army men? That would be great,
People always talk about like test models, and whenever you talk about that, like, you know, have you ever considered painting green army men? It's like, yeah, I mean, I've also considered like stabbing my eyes out with forks, but I don't do that. But I can't imagine painting a green army man. But it'd be funny if you made like a legit, nice sculpted green army man.
Yeah, I feel like green army men are, like where that actually had some details, you know, because like green army men don't have anything. It's literally like you would paint like, you know, what? Like Korean faded green fatigue color on it. You know? but I get it.
In fairness,
you know,
there are a number of board gaming miniatures out there that also don't have any details.
Oh yeah,
well, that's true too.
Yeah, they're not very
That's
good.
also
either.
true. But yeah, so I mean, for me, the idea is that you would be able to feel comfortable enough about picking this up, painting it. You know, maybe I just want to focus on the cloth and practice what I want to do for a big, you know, character model that I'm doing on an army that I'm really proud of. You know, and then you can prime over it and paint it again. The details are deep enough to where you don't have to worry. Just a fun thing. And if you do just want to pick it up and paint it and put it on a shelf, they're great for that too.
Okay. Get that paint camera up.
It is up.
Don't lie to me, Evan. I'm watching you.
The statement that I made was true at the time that I said it.
All right.
Chat will confirm. I saw one I wanted to read here, and now it's lost. Come on.
If anyone has any questions for Jason about Monument products or about what it's like to start a miniature like product company or about anything he sells, let us know. Evan will pick the question up in chat.
Oh, yeah. Mike Genie wanted to know that what was in the medallion pipeline. Is there a dwarf?
The next one is a male sci-fi bounty hunter. So we can get some really good, like...
I heard Evan whisper under his voice, that's not a dwarf.
That's not a dwarf. Yeah, he's not a dwarf. So I was kind of trying to skirt that issue and go into what is in the pipeline. But a dwarf would be cool. We could do like another fantasy one. I'm really kind of, you know, because we design them in-house, we can do whatever we want. It really just depends on what the community likes. You know, they've been selling really well since we released them. We haven't really done any marketing on them. It's just the people off of our community Discord and Twitch that have seen us paint them live on stream. We took some to LVO and sold a bunch. So, you know, it's going really well. I think if it continues to be something people are interested in, then we'll do a lot more. The goal right now is that we're doing, obviously this one, a male bounty hunter that's a sci-fi theme that's really cool. Got a lot of neat textures and details on him. And then we'll be doing one that's more of a monstrosity, you know, that has a lot of organics to it. And then one that is a little bit more robotic. Or it may be another sci-fi one that's kind of like a, if you can imagine, like a robotic zombie skeleton kind of a thing is what I have in my head. I don't know. You can see how my creative process goes. I'm like, I kind of want this. And then I just start drawing.
Well, Mike Genie's response is, speaking on behalf of the Miniac community, dwarfs. Yeah, and this is true. Miniac has somehow managed to get by far the largest community of dwarf enthusiasts outside of like the Deep Rock Galactic fan
Which is
base.
bizarre because I'm fantasy racist against dwarves.
Right. Well, that's just it. It's
So it's a
because
spite-
it's because you're a dirty elf player.
It's a spite-based
All
community.
of the dwarves are showing up to call you out, like saying, "Oh yeah, wood elves are lame. Dwarves are way cooler."
Robert says, I think I'm about to go grab one. Seems like a great idea for test model. Awesome. Also, Lumberjack Tim 33 with the sub saying, stay warm, Fuse.
Hey, man, you know what? It's hot here.
Yeah, dude. I don't know what's going on in Minnesota right now, but
We broke
it
our
is.
all-time January record. yesterday.
Jason showed up and he brought the warmth. That's what
He
happened.
brought the heat.
He brought the heat.
It's warm. Right before stream, Scott was like, is it warm in here?
Yeah, dude.
It was warm in here.
I had to turn the heat off.
So, yeah.
Bakamaru wants to know if Scott is one of the next Monument Hobbies signature series.
Nope.
Nope.
Nope. But we always kick around ways we could work together, so who knows what the future holds.
We've had a couple meetings about stuff and things.
Stuff and things.
I've signed an NDA.
I'm a big fan of stuff and things.
I haven't signed an NDA, but I don't know anything. So, chat, just ask me what you want to know, and I'll make up answers.
Can't afford them. No, it's not a matter of not affording me. It's just a matter of, like, I don't necessarily use Monument Hobby paints a lot, and it would feel disingenuous to put my name on a product that I don't like endorse in the sense of using it, right? Now, there's nothing wrong with Monument paints. I want to. We kind of going through a series on Twitch. If you're a Twitch viewer, I've been just painting models with a new paint range, like once a week. And I think I did like some loose testing a long time ago with Monument Hobbies paints when I was painting some Cursed City characters. But I never did what I'm doing here, which is kind of like using an entire paint range to paint a model start to finish. Now, I'm not necessarily doing that right now because I'm also using Express paints. I think we should do that with Monument Hobbies. Give it a shot.
I mean, you kind of
yeah, I mean, the
did.
thing-
I loaned you a bunch of my paints, like,
Oh, we did do that.
Yeah, like 8 streams ago.
What model did I paint?
I don't know.
Painted something from your Song of Ice and Fire guys.
Oh, I painted a
Oh,
character.
yeah, it was
okay.
some of your Greyjoy
Gotcha.
stuff.
Yeah, I think it was Greyjoy character.
Okay.
But the and you know, from us, we really feel the same way, right? If it's not something that is kind of symbiotic, and that all of the artists that we have done signature series with have been people who have gravitated into pro acryl already, and we've had relationships with them. You know, John and Vince were using our colors from the get-go back in 2018, 2019, and Vince was one of the first people that ever did a review video on YouTube with them.
There you go.
And so we've had relationships with them, and then when we had a crazy idea of, hey, you know, what would you think if? And that's why John and Vince were the first, because that, you know, I called them up. I said, hey, you know, you want to get crazy? Let's do something.
Want to get nuts?
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
I still maintain that Scott loves his fun-colored washes, and
Oh,
one
God,
thing
yeah.
that's kind of lacking in the range right now is there's only the
You
3
got any
Monument
fun
washes.
washes? I love greens. I love blues. I love yellows, oranges, reds. I love fun washes.
Yeah, we only pre-bottle the black, brown, and flesh, and then the glazed wash medium allows you to take our entire range. So you have 102 color washes.
That's not a real wash because it doesn't say wash on the bottle that it comes from, Jason.
You're not a dwarf. All right?
No.
Called
You're
out.
not a dwarf.
He's mentally
I was
a dwarf.
thinking earlier. I was thinking, Evan, that I might budge on my thinking of you as a dwarf, but now you've sealed the deal. You've sealed the deal. You are not a dwarf.
No.
Not a dwarf.
Dwarves are sculptors, but when it comes to the art part, I just use what it says on the bottle, okay? Mixing colors, das ist verboten.
Verboten. All right, let's crack out some 2 thin coats silver paint and see what the deal is there. Chat, what are your thoughts on these silver paints? These metallics, are they good? Are they bad? They average?
I never used them, but Goobs seemed to think highly of them in that shootout and breakdown of all the different metallics.
Oh, he was peeping them under the microscope?
The microscope.
Indeed.
I love that video. That was fun.
He called me up a bunch and was like, "What am I seeing?"
They taste the best. Love the TTC metallics. I have TTC. Oh, that's 2 thin coats. What's the TT? There's another
TT Combat.
TT Combat.
They
Yeah.
also made a paint range.
Yeah, TTC is 2 different paint ranges.
That's funny. I have that paint range at my house, and that's what I use when I paint at home. And I've been enjoying that. But that's mostly as an experiment as well. All right, we're gonna start with Sir Coates Silver.
Sir Coats.
Yeah, we have Sir Coats, and then we have Mithril Blade. Those are the two that I found. But there could be some more in these bunch of tiny boxes. You didn't know that Monument Hobbies started putting out figures? Heck yeah. Are you looking to get more into that?
Well, we did back in, good gosh, Jen would have to correct me, or somebody that played along, and I think it was 2020, 2021, during the whole craziness of COVID, we did a thing called the Mother Lovin' Paint Party. And the Mother Lovin' Paint Party was a way for us to make 2 models each quarter, so we made 8 total that year, and you could buy them and do a paint along with us on stream. And then we featured them on social media and things like that. So I designed, and Mini Monster Mayhem, Lee, did all the sculpts for those models, and we had a great time. Okay. So it was part of that was a test to see, like, would people take us seriously if we came out with models that were more, geared towards artistic style models without being too over the top. And yeah, they support us really well. So we've always had it in the back of our minds of making more. But for me, I don't want to just make, another model that you don't really use for anything. And then the texture trainer idea hit me, and I was like, you know what? This, though, makes a lot of sense. We can do some really cool, fun models. And then, as long as we can cost control them the way we are, then we can have people see a use, go and use them as a practice model, because it's not a $75 bust.
Okay. So why don't you just want to... You said because you don't want to make stuff people aren't going to paint. And I don't think anyone, when they make a model, is like... I think they're trying to make the coolest thing that they can think of, so people do paint it.
Yeah.
So why do you feel like...
I make something that no one will paint.
So why do you feel like the models that you would make, or are you saying it's an inevitability that people won't paint models if you sell them or make them?
No, I think it's... Are you asking, like, when I said that to see if people would take us seriously if we made models?
Well, maybe I misunderstood, but it sounded like you said that you weren't into the idea of making a traditional model because that's just something that other people do. You're just going to add people's backlogs. Am I wrong?
Me as a product development guy is just a sense of where I come from as a product creator. Is that I don't really just want to keep up with the Joneses. I want to do something new and different. Okay. Not always possible. I get it. We make a hobby knife that's kind of cool. We make hobby clippers that are kind of cool, but there's solutions for those in other places. So, not everything is completely new and different. You reinvent the wheel, but you make a cooler one or something like that. Mm-hmm. I just think there's a ton of people that I respect and that I would, buy models from that make me want to paint. And I would rather come up with stuff that's either something like this that makes me want to paint it, but also has a focus on being a little bit different in the cost and the utility of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I design these from a painter's perspective more so than I design them from, oh my God, I got to paint that model. I also want them to be cool, so we try to make them cool.
Of course.
But at the end of the day, I'm really baking in the textures and the things like I'm determining, like, hey, how do I want this arm to be made? Not just what position and what the pose is, but how do I want it to be layered so that it makes it comfortable for people to jump in and try to paint metal, whether you're painting true metallics or whatever. So that's been interesting for me. Now, we do have some games coming out. We've opened a game studio as of last year, and so our first game is in production right now. We should have the samples next week, and there are going to be some miniatures that we make that go along with the games. The first couple of games are not miniature games, like you don't use them tactically in the thing, but we're creating miniatures for the characters in those games. That'll be fun, just cool models that support the world building that the game has.
Okay.
And so that's going to be fun.
We got a question from Noah for both of us. Are we into any tabletop RPG games / campaigns at the moment? At the moment, I'm in a narrative campaign for Necromunda. Just started in January, played our first game. Our first round ends this Sunday. They're 2-week-long rounds. And we're doing a modified Dominion campaign run by a guy local here who loves Necromunda and has run events for Adepticon the last couple of years. we're really fortunate to have.
That's also John?
John Schaefer,
John Schaefer's
running our personal Necromunda campaign. So
Well,
that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, how great to have a game developer as your
I
as
know,
your guy,
no kidding, right?
Too. He works for WizKids and makes games.
Yeah.
So it's really rad.
How about you?
Great
Are you
people.
in any campaigns, tabletop RPGs? Have you been in the past?
So I it's funny because I got introduced to miniatures from D&D back in like the late 70s. So yeah, but I RPGs aren't really my thing because I always feel like, well, I just don't feel like they're a good spend of my time because I've never found a good group. But I don't blame the RPG world, I blame the group, and probably more so my availability for time because it's a big outlay of time.
Sure.
So I would be more of a one-shot guy. And I just haven't taken time to get involved in those. Okay. Jen and I did a one-shot at Valhalla in the fall once, which was funny because Jen's never played an RPG, and we played an RPG that was kind of an alien zombie one-shot, escape the base, Area 51 type thing. It was a lot of fun. It was fun watching Jen, ask me questions like, so how am I supposed to do this? I'm like, you're supposed to become that character. And she's like become, act like I'm them. And I'm like, yes.
What would that character do? Yeah.
You're shooting a movie, you're acting, go.
Yeah.
And so that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But we have a narrative campaign going on for BattleTech at the shop that's been on a hiatus for a few months now, but we are doing that. I think what I'm going to do is start, because again, getting people's involvement over the course of like 8 or 12 weeks is tough.
It is,
right?
yeah.
If you look, a lot of
someone
people
has to own that. Like
Yeah,
someone's
it's
got to
tough.
be the person who's like making you do your games, giving you the scenario,
and
all
keeping
that
energy
stuff.
in it, right? So that people want to do it.
100%.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
So hard.
I was kind of that person for Age of Sigmar campaign, and then for this one, I was like, I'm taking the back seat.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be the guy who gets given the game assignment, and I'll go play my game. I'll know my faction, and that's what I'm gonna do.
And John is like, yeah, I run like 5 million Necromunda campaigns. What's one more?
Yeah, and so he just swooped in and saved us.
My thought process, we just talked about this last week, or maybe it was this week, about BattleTech in specific, but also because I'm getting back into the whole Star Trek world. I showed off some of the minis when you guys came the last time.
Favorite Star Trek show?
Ooh, boy, that's tough.
Why is it Enterprise?
So Enterprise was really good until the end.
I enjoyed Enterprise. That's what I watched growing up when I was little. But it gets a lot of shit.
I liked it. I just got finished watching Strange New Worlds the whole way through. Is
that the newest
one? Kind of binged it. It's one of the newer ones.
Okay, yeah.
Right. It's the Enterprise before Kirk. Right.
Okay.
And it was really good because I think I like it because visually it feels more modern. And so it tells the stories I love that are very similar to the original series, but with modern effects and stuff. So that's awesome. But I'm thinking about doing like one shots for BattleTech, because we do Friday night game night at the office. We have a area that's like the common area where people eat lunch, and we've got couches and TVs and game tables.
That's so cool.
And stuff like that. And so on Fridays we do game night, and we don't get as much participation unless there's something specific going on. So I've thought with BattleTech or with these other narrative things that we could do, even if it was Kill Team or 40K or whatever people are into at the time, and just write a one shot. Here's this big battle, here's this thing with this objective, and then have everybody do a sign up sheet. And then we'd do prizes and things like that so that we could really have like a 5 or 6 hour bring pizza and dinner thing where we get the whole company together and play some fun stuff. And generally a couple of people from outside the company will come in and play too. So I think if we did it that way, then the narrative stuff would really involve me a lot more because I knew there was a beginning and an end and I didn't have to, prep the next week.
Right.
I really love the idea of, okay, you did this week and this person got hurt, you lost this, you gained this new equipment, go to your character sheets and we'll see you next week. I love that concept. It never comes out right for me.
No, it doesn't?
No, because we never do it the next week. Everybody has the thing. Oh, but Billy's getting married, so he's got the wedding. Okay, well we'll follow up next
Cancel
week.
the wedding.
And it's like
campaign.
okay, and then it just never follows through. So I think if you just take that as a given, which I don't want to do it from a quitter type standpoint, but if I know that what the hard part is getting everybody involved back to back. Well, then why don't we just make one big epic one? Invite everybody for a Saturday or a long Friday night, and something like that, and then go to town. Just make it as fun as possible, because then people look forward to the next thing you come up with, but they don't have to spend a lot of brain power remembering where they left off on the previous one.
Okay.
Travel Cedric wants to know, Jason, I was talking to my local game store here in Calgary about stocking your paint, and the reply was along the lines that it's kind of difficult to get your paint in Canada. Is there plans for stocking Canadian stores or making it easier for them to
Yeah, we have
so?
2 Canadian distributors, so it shouldn't be hard at all. If they contact us directly, we'll get them all the information. So they can just contact support@monumenthobbies.com if you want to relay back to the store, or if you want to contact support@monumenthobbies.com with that store name. We have an internal retail sales staff, a wholesale staff, and those guys can reach out and get them all the information. It's really simple. As a matter of fact, like our Canadian distributor is one of our biggest distributors on the planet.
Also, a quick shout out to Cole McGraw for a Prime sub. Also, Noah, I didn't mention it, but thank you for the $5 super chat. Appreciate that. We have super chats enabled on YouTube, so if you want your question highlighted so we don't miss it, you can do that.
It does apparently delay. He asked the question and it took about a minute to show up, but that's okay.
I have not,
You haven't had a Juicy Lucy ever?
but I think we're going to have one.
So Minnesota exists in the burger belt.
That's cheese inside the meat, right?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
yeah.
And our
Cheese
regional,
injected.
Our regional burger is a cheese.
The Juicy Lucy. Jen said I'm not allowed to come home if I don't have a Juicy Lucy. So.
Okay, well, I mean, we have to go where it started.
It was one of those come home on with your shield, holding your shield or on it
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Oh, Scott, I'm going to embroil you in the controversy. Where did it start?
Well, there's the two places, right?
That's right.
There's
And they both
Club-
claim to be the first.
Club 58 or Club something?
Yeah, Club and Matt's Bar
Matt's
are like
Bar,
the
yeah.
two that claim to be the original.
I've been to Matt's Bar, and it fucking slaps. It's a great burger.
I
so.
was literally there on Tuesday with
Nice.
my buddy Mike. That was what we did. We were like, let's just go to Matt's.
Yeah.
And Matt's is, they do one thing.
Yeah, they do one thing. They have fries and burgers, and that's it.
It's also very much a tourist thing. We parked, we're walking over, and if people get out of what's clearly an Uber with their backpacks and stuff, start
Yeah.
taking pictures of the restaurant.
Yeah, yeah.
Henry Garden subbed and says Dream Team stream.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
The combo of perfection. Hey, they like us, Scott.
They do. Maybe we should do this regularly. Maybe I fly down to Arizona and I'm on your stream then.
Dude, I've been telling you.
I filmed that video for Black Site Studios.
Oh yeah, you went down in Texas.
And yeah, and honestly, I started that video by saying that I grew up watching the behind the scenes for Lord of the Rings and all these things, and I truly love that kind of content. And so if you want to, have me come with a camera, film some cool behind the scenes stuff,
Dude, we will fly you out.
I would honestly, that'd be so much
Consider it a open invitation.
fun. Very cool. Gilded Lion Minis, Evan too, let's go! Thanks for the sub. Evan is here, he'll be here today and tomorrow for our BattleTech stream. Only on Twitch.
The stream that I've been trying to make happen for like a year.
It's happening.
It was Evan's fault, this whole thing.
Uh-huh.
Because he's like, oh my God, you're painting BattleTech. You got to come and teach Scott how to play BattleTech.
That's right.
I was like, Scott doesn't know how to play BattleTech? And then you went on a rant about how, isn't that just a silly old crunchy, I forget what all the words you said, but.
Indeed.
And then you were like, yes, it is.
I was like, yeah, but it's still fun. Yeah, I did the whole Brussels sprouts conversation. Yeah, but you'll like it the way I do it.
I believe it. I believe the game's gonna be good. Gregory Games asks, hey Scott, quick question for Necromunda. How do you feel about Cawdor for new players? I don't know. I'm not very experienced in the entire game, so I don't know how different houses compare. But what I will say about Necromunda, the game in general, is the rule sprawl is fucking incredible. You need tomes to play that game.
Tomes on tomes.
I thought Age of Sigmar was bad. Oh my God. Necromunda puts this game to fucking shame. Now, luckily, the community surrounding Necromunda loves the game so deeply that they've made a lot of incredibly helpful resources that collate all the information, make it easier to find, make it searchable. Sadly, one of the best things, Necrodamus, just got a cease and desist from GW, so that site's going away.
Necrovox also.
Necrovox, not
Yeah.
Damus, sorry. But the other things are still there, helpful PDFs that put together all the new stuff from Ash Wastes.
That's a bummer too, because Necromunda was only kept alive by the community doing those things for decades.
Yeah.
I think that Necrovox is basically trying to comply with the copyright takedown request by they've just stripped out like all of the pictures and lore from the website, and they're going to see if that satisfies them, because actual game rules is the sort of a gray area as far as copyrighted text.
Yeah, you can't really do it unless unless
Unless
you're using their trademark.
one-to-one copy and so on. So
Yeah.
they may survive, but right now they've already had to strip out a bunch of the stuff that was on there, admittedly violating the copyright, but also making it so you can actually figure out how the game works.
Yeah. So for a beginner, it's a little rough. But if you like crunchy rule sets with lots of books and you like to feel like a wizard librarian while you're writing your gang list, it's for you. It's truly for you. And I definitely understand the enjoyment of that. Like, I had even fun doing it. I think it took me 2 hours to write my first 1,000 credit list. But now I'm just fucking deep in it. I'm like, I got PDFs on literally every computer that I occupy.
Oh, that's awesome.
I've downloaded them multiple times, so I can just like look at stuff all the time. I'm having a blast.
You've gone deep.
Yak Tribe, that website
Yeah.
is amazing.
Yak Tribe also is great for managing your gang when someone goes out for a round and is in recovery. It manages your credits, your reputation, what territories you have, all kinds of super helpful stuff if you're in a campaign. Really having fun with it, honestly. Gonna go to the LGS. Okay, hot tip for you. If you have like a half-price books or a book reseller, consider going there first, because I actually found the House of Faith, my book for KOTOR, at half-price books for super cheap, and it was the current version.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know. What do you mean? What do you mean by a-hole?
Getting your book super cheap.
What do you mean?
Some of us paid retail, Scott.
Did you?
Yeah, well, that was my way of supporting the store since I didn't buy any minis.
Oh, now I have guilt.
You got those minis somewhere, Scott.
I did. Long time ago. I actually can't remember where I got them. So what if you punch loyal fans? It's gonna come back to bite you, GW. True, probably. Well, we'll see. We'll see. GW has 9 different heads, and when you cut off one, another one rises up.
It seems that way.
They are unkillable. They can do what seems like virtually anything, and
Yeah, almost no wrong.
yeah, whatever. They make the games and own the IP that is beloved, even by me.
Yeah, we were talking about that on the way over here. Reading the Horus Heresy stuff, listening to it on the plane.
Yeah, you're in the final books, right?
Yeah, the End of the Death Volume 3 came out on Audible, so I'm listening to it.
Nice. We got any Horus Heresy fans in the chat? Do you play the game Horus Heresy?
I do have a Dark Angels army.
So do I. So do I.
I saw yours over in the case. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a Dark Angels army. I have not played it a whole lot, but a couple of the guys, Jordan included, our studio painter Jordan, and Kyle, our GM, Kyle's huge. He does a lot of narrative campaign stuff locally, so every once a quarter, I think he gets together at Old World Games, which is a store in Phoenix, and does a big narrative event, has prizes and things like that. And so that's cool. He's very active in that community. It's a great game. It really is. It's like 7th edition 40K. It's stuff dies really quick. Blast templates, it feels like Grimdark more so than the modern game.
Okay.
So I like it a lot, but it's still 40K. It's still, it's still very meta driven.
What is that? What do you mean when you say it's still 40K? Are you admonishing the game with that comment, or are you
a
little bit? So
I hate to put 40K out there, but it is the gorilla in the corner, right? It's the one that we're going to refer to the most because it has the crowd. But I don't really like meta driven games that are RNG based as well, right? So do you play Magic?
No, but I'm very aware of it.
Okay, so Magic is a meta-driven game too, but it's not as RNG-based. I mean, you can say, yes, it is because you shuffle your deck and you don't know if you're ever going to get your cards or your mana, so there's a level of RNG. But the dice-based games with the meta like 40K and stuff are tough for me because, it's really based on weight of dice and not cool minis and narrative and things like that.
Do you think that any game is going to tend toward having a meta if it gets popular?
I think all of them do, yeah. So I don't want to be a hypocrite here. I think in a competitive environment, if you're playing, there'll always be a meta that evolves for any game that stays around long, because otherwise it gets stale. If it's too homogenous, if it's too milquetoast, we'll call it, right? Every army feels the same, everything plays the same, then nobody's really going to play your game, I guarantee.
Yeah.
So that's always kind of the lightning in the bottle part of it that GW has done really good, like you said, at catching. They've got a narrative that people love. I love just paint. I'm painting the Lion on stream. Not right now, obviously, but on our stream, I'm painting Lionel Johnson, the new one. I painted the 30K one. I'm painting the new one now. Never going to do anything with him. Don't care to play a game with him. Don't care what 40K Dark Angels look like. I just love the model.
Yeah.
And
it is a cool model.
Yeah, and I like Lionel Johnson. I like the Dark Angels. I like the story behind him. So that's a lot of fun.
I had a follow-up question on that, and now it's gone. But I also have a secondary question. Tell me about the blue skin.
Oh, nobody's asked. I'm just over here just fooling around, man. I'm like, hey, you know what? Let's do blue.
Well,
I was talking before the stream, and I was like, I do green, or I can do purple, Or I can do blue, so I'm doing blue.
You've painted that model several times, and so you're kind of like mixing it up right now, right?
Yeah, I did the box art, and so the after doing it that way, and then wanting to go back and show people, how many different ways you can paint a model, I'm like, yeah, let's do something that's a little bit more alien skinned, Come up with some different color combos, maybe do some different textures on it. I did the box art is just kind of a silvery blue steel on the armor, but I'll probably do something like maybe black metallic armor or something.
Okay.
I thought about doing gold, but not with blue skin. That would be too sports team. Sports team here.
Well, Jason, I need to interrupt your painting for a minute and have you come over here because your mic pack is doing something strange.
My mic pack is doing something strange?
Yeah.
Is my mic pack doing something strange?
No. Okay. Us two are fine. Jason's is doing something weird.
There's a mute switch on the top.
It's not muted. It's a little fuzzy. I need to just take a look at it real quick.
Okay, cool. I'll go over there.
Yeah, I would just mute it also so you don't reduce the handling sound as well.
I'm muted now, right?
Yeah.
This weekend.
The medallion model is available, just to show you a close-up of what it is.
I'm hitting everything. I'm killing the show.
It's right here. It's meant for experimentation with textures. So the model's got a bunch of different fabrics on it, leathers, metals, stones, skin, hair, and it's $20. And it has no back either, because no one likes painting the back of a model, It's like, oh, I gotta do that. So it's meant to be cheap and be used for experimentation purposes.
How about now?
And I believe it's on
Better.
Monument
check.
site.
We're good.
Fucking paint on my face. So yeah, it's on the site.
I won't hit it now, I swear.
That should fix it. It sounds good again.
Sam, I found the hot pink box. I have billions of hot pink paint now in my actual paint storage, but it's good to hear that Vince got there. Given enough time, Vince will make videos about literally everything. I think that's a mathematical proof. Actually, I think it's out there.
Yeah, you know the passage. I am the Alpha and the Omega at the beginning and the end.
Yeah, when referring to God.
Yeah, that also is about Vince. As far as hobbying.
Am I on or am I muted still?
You are on, right?
Am I on now?
No.
Now I am. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Wait, no, hang on. Do it again.
Check.
Can you hear me now?
Hello. Does it work? Does it sound better?
Switch again.
Does it sound better now?
Now we're good.
Okay.
Leave it there.
I'm playing with the buttons.
This is the problem with wearing one cup.
Donald Pipkin says, teach us how to use noosh, please.
Ooh. Ha ha. I have some right here.
Okay.
I don't have a good model for it. What could I do to show you?
Should I grab like a model that I have like partially painted maybe?
I can show you some fun things, but I guess, so noosh is made as a subtractive weathering medium. I mean, that's what we label it as.
Subtractive weathering medium. Okay, what does that mean?
So subtractive weathering is what we typically do with oil washes,
right.
Meaning that you put paint on in larger amounts than you expect to actually view at the end, and you subtract it with whatever.
So is there gouache in that, or a thing like gouache?
No, no. This is a totally new thing. Okay. We looked at how we could make a long open time acrylic that doesn't use just a tremendous amount of retarder in it.
Okay.
Right? Because retarders themselves will start breaking the way the paint activates. Sometimes you don't get it to ever dry, So we wanted to create something that had an extremely long open time, up to 10, 15 minutes workability with this stuff for acrylics and water-based, which is pretty crazy, and still be controllable. So
you have a chemist on staff, or are you just kind of mixing things in your back room and hoping it doesn't explode?
Well, it's a good thing that water-based paints don't really have any explosive parts to them.
Yet.
But yet. I haven't designed that part yet. No, we have a partner lab that we work with that takes care of all of the turn my crazy idea into reality when possible.
Okay,
right?
Cool.
Who do all the crazy chemical stuff, and then I kind of learned by default from dealing with it for all the years, enough to be dangerous.
Good to have that person in your back pocket.
Yeah. So as a subtractive weathering medium, it is intended to just, let's see, do you have a test model that has just some paint on it that we can?
I'm sure I do.
I'll make it look better.
Pause. Okay.
I think Noosh is quite literally the only paint product that you have made that I don't have. So.
Can you use Noosh to make a panel liner? Does it flow like oil washes? No. Well, it will never flow exactly like an oil wash. That's the beauty of the oil washes that have like a linseed base or, the oil base, is that surface tension, you're never going to be able to recreate that in just a water-based suspension. So with Noosh, that's the one thing that while it can do it, it's not going to you're not going to run like a 3-inch panel with one touch of the brush with Noosh. You can put flow improver into it and get close.
Interesting.
Okay, I have this model that I painted for my contrast paint video years ago, but it's not well painted, but it's like
Oh no, that's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. That's the kind of thing we want.
Okay, good.
Right?
All right, it's got a bunch of kind of partial base coats on it that are washy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this would be good.
I can probably find something better.
No, I think this is good.
Okay, good.
Do you mind if I do kind of like a base coat again on this upper part?
Do whatever you want to that.
Perfect. I like it.
It's a Stormcast, so Scott automatically hates it because of all the PTSD I gave him.
Yeah, it's fucking dragons.
Dragons. Stormcast, unfortunately, they're a little bit better than Space Marines for me, but they're just boring to paint.
Dr. McWeasel showing
First
up
one's
in the
super
YouTube
cool,
chat.
and then the rest of them are like,
I just tuned in for a bit. What's happening? Oh, shoot. It's the Stormcast, man.
It's the Stormcast, man. Thanks for doing this. You're very welcome, Donald Pipkin. I think, I don't know why, but I seem to have like at least like 3 guests in my office like a year, which is amazing. And I feel like when I do that, I should have them live on stream. And so I think in April, we're going to have Valbjorn, who is
nice, yeah.
He's going to come through. He's going to do a class in the studio, I believe. And then we'll also do probably a live stream with him as well. Maybe we'll try to convert something on stream and answer a bunch of questions about that kind of stuff.
Valbjorn is the one that made your amazing Space Wolf, right?
Yes. And he has an amazing Instagram where he shows off how to just make the coolest things. I got to chat with him a lot at Monte Sansevino, and he's just
great content.
He's just the coolest guy too.
Nice guy.
Yeah, he's super nice. He's super nice. He's super humble, and he has like a really cool like background in creating and making stuff with all kinds of different materials.
Nice.
And you can see that in his conversions. He like uses copper, he uses brass, he uses all kinds of different sculpting mediums. It's really cool.
Very cool stuff. And then Vince is coming here later in the year.
Yes, he's coming as well because he is releasing a new game and wants to stream it. There you go. There's 3 right there.
Yep.
God damn.
That's like the front half because I think Vince is around June, right?
No more. Now I get to be alone for the rest of the year after that.
Mm-mm.
Private time. Back to normal.
That's just how introverted Scott is. He needs 6 months to recharge after he sees 3 people.
Dude, I got to be honest with you. I'm very similar. Yeah. I get back from shows and I'm like, don't talk to me for 6 months.
Yeah.
I've always self-described as an introverted extrovert.
Do you, okay, I totally feel that.
Yes.
I totally feel that.
Right? It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like I love talking with people. I love the social aspect of getting together and doing stuff. And then I don't want to talk to anybody ever again after I do it.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yep. Do you, how many shows does Monument go to, and do you go to all of them?
Funny you ask. We do LVO, Adepticon, Gen Con, Nova Open.
Is everyone counting right now? Is that 4?
That's 4 so far.
I think that's all. I can't remember.
Okay.
So we did New York Comic Con last year.
How was that for you?
It was a lot of fun. It was great being able to integrate into that crowd. The way that it was delivered needs some work, just because they're learning how to include, like that type of gaming. They did like the Marvel Multiverse RPG was they had tables too, and they just kind of sequestered us into a part of the hall that nobody went to. So there just needs to be some things going on from a logistical standpoint, but it was really great. It was the best part for me is talking to people who have never painted a miniature before in their life.
Yeah, I imagine you'd find a lot of people like that.
And sit down for an hour with, we give them like 6 or 8 colors, so real limited palette stuff, and they come out the other end of that, on the exit interview, if you will, being like, oh my God, this is so great.
That's awesome.
Not a single person was like, meh. Everybody was like, oh my God, this is great. So yeah, and we're doing WonderCon this year, which is San Diego Comic-Con's kind of like PAX, where they do more tabletop gaming.
Okay.
So it's in Anaheim at the Anaheim Convention Center in March. It's the week after Adepticon. And then the other part of your question is, I try to go to all of them. I did not go to LVO this year for the first time.
You didn't go to LVO.
I didn't go to LVO.
That wasn't even one you mentioned on your list. That would put
but
you
Monument
at 6.
went though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we have a team that goes to all the shows, and Jen and I have found that it is, more valuable in a lot of cases for us to have that team go and handle the show, and in certain areas we stay back and do work. And so we've been building for that. That's just, you can imagine it's hard to get to a point where that can happen as a business.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of moving parts. And so this year at LVO was the first time we did that. So we had the Gabe and Philip and Shelby and Jordan.
Did it work out? Did you learn something
was-
about the process?
Well, it was fantastic. Yeah, I mean, the nice thing for, I gotta be honest, right? As a business owner, Jen and I will sit around and talk, and it's like, we have to find a way as the business grows to have other people do all these things.
Right. The things that other people can do, but you need to do things that only you can do, right?
Right. Yeah. You have to be able to focus, because as you grow, there's just exorbitantly more things that have to be done on a day-to-day basis. Mm-hmm. And so this was one of those, and seeing. And so, but I am going to Adepticon. I'll be at Gen Con. I'm doing WonderCon with Jordan. Jordan will be doing the classes. We're doing 3 classes a night at WonderCon for new painters. And then I'll be doing the painting, kind of like we're doing here, at the place where people leave the paint and take. So when they leave the paint and take, they'll come by, they can sign up for the classes, and I'll be painting models there and having conversations with new painters, which is what I love doing. Awesome. So, but yeah, I try to get to as many as I can. I love that part of the biz. All right, I'm gonna let that dry, and then we're gonna mix up some noosh.
Dan's asking, when's that Valbjorn class? It's gonna be sometime in April. That's the tentative plan, Dan. And I think we can probably fit 10 people in this office comfortably.
Oh, it's big in here.
Yeah, get this big table used, get this table used. We are also set up nicely so that if Valbjorn wanted to paint here, we could drop that monitor down. People could see footage of him like right at that table.
Oh, that's a good point.
We have a nice setup. Someone's asking if they thin with water. What are you asking? The noosh stuff, or all the paints we're using are all water-based acrylic? So yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and noosh as a weathering medium to replace, we kind of have a tongue-in-cheek, can't believe it's not oil wash, across the bottle.
Okay.
And it's a water-based product, totally. No mineral spirits, no toxins. That's really why I wanted to make it. For years, I've wanted to make something that didn't need toxic solvents to approach that. I come from a world of scale model building as well, and so in scale model building, there's lots of oils, lots of turpentine and white spirits and nonsense all the time.
All the most delicious paints.
Yeah, delicious. And so I was just hoping that one day I would live to see there be a water-based version that could work as well. And so here we are, we made it.
And you're like, no one's fucking doing it. I might as well do it.
I'm gonna do it my damn self.
Is there a lot of delay in the chat? Am I crazy?
No.
No?
But maybe. Who knows? We are using a restreaming service, so that's going to add some encoding latency, because they're going to encode it and then RTMP it to the 2 different destinations.
I don't know why I brought
Yes, Dan, it's going to be a conversion and sculpting class. That's his shtick. And he's very good at it.
I think he got confused because you said we could move the monitors to show what he's painting.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, my bad.
So I've got a big puddle of noosh and some warm browns.
Excuse me?
Right, yeah, no. I said that out loud.
You did.
That was my outside voice.
You're mic'd up right now.
That was my outside voice. You were not muted, Jason. So I got a lot of wet noosh over here. And it was, a lot of people are like, why did you call it noosh? I'm like, well, it's a new form of wash.
New thing,
so it
yeah.
sense, and it was fun to say.
I mean, I picked
and
up
when
on
you
it
say
immediately.
just noosh it, you got to be careful of the spacing.
Oh, yeah. It's dangerous right there.
So just noosh it. So I'm just going to take a little tip of color and put it into the noosh, right? And it doesn't tint the color at all. It's going to be the same base color, right? But I've extended the drying time of this paint now, like deliberately for a long time, because noosh.
Use a hard palette?
Oh yeah, it's just a piece of acrylic.
Because you have this noosh stuff. Or do you prefer that?
No, I never use a wet palette.
Oh, right. You're one of these guys. Oh, my God. I got a bone to pick with you, man. I totally forgot you do this. I mean, with using the noosh, if it gives you literally 15 minutes of working time.
But I just use, you can see how I'm painting the skin. This is just me painting.
Oh, my God.
Right? Oh, my God.
Unreal.
I know. I know. I'm gonna hope and pray this works okay. I'm not giving a lot of dry time to this base coat, so
I kind of want to watch.
We're just gonna do it here, but with a noosh, you're just gonna slop it on, right? So just like you would with an oil wash or whatever, just cover the whole area that you want to put paint on.
Oh, God damn it.
Right, I'm just gonna do it down here too. It's getting messy.
Scott, why'd you bump the camera?
I didn't bump, but I set up the camera and then something must have turned it off because now everything that I set up is no longer saved. Which means that his white balance is also off. I just wanted to see. So you've put in so much that it is now a wash.
Yeah, basically that's what it's for, right? Is to just cover that area. But we wanted to make it something to where you didn't really have to, you don't have to be deliberate with it. You can just slop it on. Like when we do models for like on the stream and stuff to show people, we literally just slop the whole model. It's like dipping the model in it. Right?
Okay.
And so just like an oil wash, if I let this sit, the longer I let it sit, the heavier the tinting strength on the base will be. So it'll give you more of a filter. So it'll turn that I was using warm flesh, but that fabric color, it'll tint it darker. If I just go in immediately, and I just use these cheap makeup sponges. I don't know what these are, silicone?
The wedge ones, yeah.
Yeah, just the white one. Right, you just take the makeup sponge, right, and then you can just, like an oil wash, you can just wipe it right off. Right? And you can't do that with any acrylic. And look, see, because I didn't give it a lot of time, it didn't have a lot of tint strength on that base, right? So I can actually fully remove it. That's why you can just slop it on there. So you can imagine, even on vehicles and bigger spaces, it works great.
Yeah, and then I'm assuming the same is true for oil washes, that the longer you wait, also the stickier the paint becomes.
Yep, you got it.
And so that when you're wiping it off, it does stick in the recesses probably a little bit better. But yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Very cool. Live product demos with the maker. This is fucking awesome.
And then if if you're working in tight spaces, you can just get a brush with water, and you can blend that out, right? So a lot of people have been doing a lot of testing with Noosh as they get it in their hands, because you can imagine the way your brain starts going if you think, okay, well now I have a product that allows my acrylics to have a long open time, but still remain workable and still actually cure fully, which is the big problem. Because like I said, if you put a ton of flow improver into your paint or anything else like that, you can wind up in a position where it just gets gummy and never dries. And this allows me to just, paint with it like a normal paint too, and then clear my brush. And then I can just come back and kind of blend it out.
Sylphania, thank you for the raid. Memory Garden 7 wants to know, can you oil paint filter, like do dot filters and stuff like that with Noosh?
Yeah. Yep. So a dot filter is this is going to be really crappy on clothes, but for tanks and military stuff, dot filters, let's do one that's kind of I'll use a bright neutral gray. It's a good ash kind of color that I would use on tanks. That or like a rust or something like that, right? And so I can just take a spot of the gray. I'm probably blowing white balance out because of this thing too here, right?
Well, you're all good.
So I'll take Noosh and mix it in with the gray. And again, don't be afraid to use a lot of Noosh. It's not going to cause any problems with the paint. It's just going to extend the dry time. The less you use, the quicker it'll dry, obviously. And then I can come back in here and go ahead and just paint a small area like this. And if I want to, I can use the sponge, and I can kind of hit that and streak it downwards, right? And get the paintbrush, just like you would with an oil. Just get it wet, right? And come back in, and I can move that and blend it up and down that panel how I want to.
Some feathering action.
Right. Because it leaves it open for a long time, and you never really feel like you're in a hurry with it, which is nice. So I can come through and keep cleaning. Get rid of the hard edges of the coffee staining on that. White nut is a bad color on this model to be doing, but you can imagine, like, if you wanted to create highlights up top, it gives you a ton of time to then be able to, take that, feather that down.
Yes, I did see they rebooted Guild Ball. I'm super hyped about it. It was really interesting. It came out of nowhere.
I still can't believe you didn't talk about that on Tuesday.
I forgot.
I came in at the end of that stream and someone was like, what are your thoughts on Guild Ball? And you're like, oh my God, I didn't talk about it.
And we have a video up on the YouTube channel that has me doing all of these kinds of things, streaking, rust streaking, grime streaking, overall filter with Noosh on a Contemptor Dreadnought.
Very cool.
Also, another important thing to mention for all our Twitch viewers out there, Jason has a stream that is live 5 days a week.
5 days a week. We're crazy.
For 2 hours? For
2 hours, 5 days a week. 2 to 4 Mountain Standard Time here in the U.S.
Do you happen to know what the URL is? Is it twitch.tv at Monument Hobbies?
Yep, Monument_Hobbies.
Yep. All right. Check him out. If you didn't already know that he was live.
Been doing that
every
for
single day.
8 freaking years. It's crazy.
Jeez, man. Get
Crazy.
It's crazy.
I'm gonna do some dark magenta. Yeah, Noosh has been the single fastest and biggest selling product we've ever made.
Really?
It's nuts. Yeah. Yeah, once people start talking about it and seeing it, and we get a lot of people like, I don't even use it for what you made it for. But I was never good at wet blending, and now I add that to my paints and I can wet blend like a champ. So
it's a nice little extra medium.
Hey, look at that. Someone's rating us, Jason.
Is it Monument Hobbies?
It is.
Hey!
Raid Party 54.
The devil.
Probably the work of Jen. Thank you for the raid.
She was like, wait a minute, can we raid you? I was like, yes.
Please.
The timing was good. Also, Ash just donated $5 and says, I just bought Spira Mirabilis' Wood Dwarf's Army.
Oh, we got one of the 100.
You know you went hard when your bank texts you to make sure someone didn't commit credit card fraud with your card. Listen, if I had a credit card with the room for that, I was very tempted. I was very, very tempted.
That's very interesting that he was doing that. What up, Mamacon?
It's because dwarves are the best, Scott.
Yeah. It was a really interesting looking army. It was super different than like what we're normally used to. You guys don't know who Lucas Pina is, but he does normally a bust display model, maybe like once every 2 months, and it goes up for pre-order. And he'll like have like a window open for like 2 or 3 days. But he just decided he wanted to make an army, a whole army of dwarves, like a reasonably sized army, and he made 100 copies of that entire army. And I think those went on sale sometime recently. But it was just
today. It was today. The drop was today.
It was cool to see.
That's cool.
It's an entire army in
you said it's elves?
It's
dwarves. Dwarves.
It's wood dwarves. They're like...
Oh, you said wood, and I thought elves.
Yeah, no.
Immediately.
They're pretty charming.
They are very charming. All of his models are very charming.
I was going to say, Lucas makes amazing stuff.
Yeah. I think he just works for himself mostly nowadays, but back when Ben Comets was making models with his like aviator pig and the Wizard of Agni, he had Lucas sculpt those models, and they're awesome. Went live like 10 minutes ago. Holy cow. Okay, so it's super recent. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, they're still available. There's only 100 of these.
Well, they're still available, though.
That's what it looks like. I could add it to my cart and check out.
Okay.
Links in chat if you want a cool wood dwarf army that's made by the finest craftsmen.
The finest in the land.
Oh, is it 150? I thought it was just 100. The point is it's very limited.
He said it was 100.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It says limited edition 150 on the sale page, so
okay.
I guess they decided to bump it up a bit.
Say, way earlier you mentioned BattleTech. Do you have any tips for priming metal minis, particularly with airbrush primers? BattleTech, any advice I can get? I mean, primer is a very mechanical thing, right? The more of it you put on the model, the more defense you're going to have from revealing that metal underneath it. Now, one of the benefits of using an airbrush primer is that it can be applied very thinly and that it can retain a lot of detail. But an aerosol can might be better just because it gets you a thicker layer, a little bit sturdier. But if you're going to use an airbrush primer, consider putting on 2 layers, maybe even 3 layers. Honestly, you're not really going to notice much detail being obscured with 3 primer layers. But yeah, it's more material to get rubbed away. That and got the models by the bases. I don't know.
Well, one real cool thing with regards to airbrush priming is that you can control the kind of volume that you output as opposed to a can. Mm-hmm. And you can break the surface oils easier on things like resin and metal models that might have mold release. So you can do what I call just a feather coat first, where you're not really imagine, if you had, if this model is black and you're doing white primer, your first pass would just make it dark gray. You don't want to see much white. And what that does is it gives tooth to that surface and breaks it to where your next paint surface isn't hitting as much of the metal as it is the dots of paint that you put on before. And then you do that 3 or 4 times. You're never putting on really 3 or 4 full layers because, like Scott says, you don't want to obscure your details. But if you build up your layers in very, very thin, and I don't mean thin, watered down, diluted, I mean thin as in just not much paint on the model, right? And that just takes trigger control. Because you don't want to hold the airbrush back like this to get less paint on it because it'll dry in the air before it hits a model. You still want to be up close and spraying, but you just want to kind of feather the paint on rather than just, and spraying it full.
But I want to be done with priming really fast, Jason.
Yeah, you quick people.
Mini painting is not a quick hobby.
It isn't, man.
It can be.
It can be. People are making it pretty quick. But for me and my hobby, I like to go slow. Make sure I paint all the nice, fun details. I'm loving how these colors are coming together. I love the brown. I actually kind of like that blue-black. I think it looks really nice.
The brown works really well.
Yeah. Happy with that contrast paint or the express paint. All right, now we're gonna, so I just used the Duncan Rhodes paint. It survived on a wet palette until I actually had to add some more to my palette, so that's good. That's really all paint needs to survive for the length of time that I'm gonna use it in one painting session, so that's good. It's a little bit sparkly. I can see the pigments a little bit more than I want to. I put it firmly in the middle of the pack when it comes to like how easily the pigments are visible. It handles well on the brush. It has an average opacity. It covered over black pretty okay. Required like 2 layers, maybe 3 layers on like the big, like flat blade parts. Those are always kind of the hardest to get coverage on, like the big flat parts. So it's squarely in the middle. And now I want to use some of his washes, his black and his brown here, to kind of muddy up these metals, make them look dirty, have all that stuff pop out nicely. So let's see what we got for washes from the old Duncan. That's sepia. Sepia might actually not be a bad idea, just to add even more kind of grungy coloration to the metals. I do want this gold for later.
Game delay. You saw me finish a model once? Not possible. I don't finish models. That's not what this hobby's about.
What is this?
Well, you got about an hour and a half left to stream to finish the rest of this model, so.
Oh, geez.
You got this.
No pressure. Well, I was already done, remember?
Right, you painted
that's right. This is the repaint.
Arnold Schwarzenegger in the Predator version.
The repaint.
And then you guys mocked me, so now I'm putting more color on it. So this is peer pressure in action here, folks.
All right, I don't know what the deal is with this bottle, but okay, now it's gonna come out. I'm like squeezing harder than I want to squeeze, and
Does it have a ball in it?
oh, it does. You're totally right. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I have to hold it on an angle.
Hold it sideways, lest ye burst your bottle.
Lest ye. Any new washes coming from Monument? Love the 3 we already have.
Yeah, actually, I'm working on more colors of washes. I don't know that those will be this year. We've got a lot of paint work coming out this year. We've got 18 colors hitting at Adepticon.
What other colors could we need? There are already so many great colors.
Yeah, I know. We're getting to the point to where that's the case. We don't need to add more. People keep demanding.
I'm actually loving this wash. It is tinting the silver in an awesome, grimy way. Oftentimes when I use wash on top of a silver paint, because silver paint is naturally glossy, you get a really good detailed effect, but you don't get a lot of that tinting on the actual surface. But this is clinging to the surface really nicely and coloring it. Which is what we want. I want grimy Caldor weapons.
El Sockham's, he's not starting with blue for the skin. He's painting the skin blue.
Yep. Blue skin. Started with purple.
I will, however, say I know a substantial subset of miniature painters that are all about the classical style of painting the skin green first.
Yeah.
as the underpainting color.
Most people who watch me paint are probably thinking I'm about to pull some weird over filter to get us back to normal skin tones. But I'm not. I'm painting blue skin. I'm just kind of sketching in values right now for the blue, and then I'll probably do a couple of filters of maybe a green. Or right now I'm mixing in warm flesh into the blue to get kind of a turquoisey seafoam color. I've been watching a lot of Star Trek, so.
Yep, there's no shortage of people with weird skin colors
Andorans.
and a piece of like prosthetic makeup on their forehead.
Yeah, everybody's got like a weird like head crest. It's like that's their standard alien.
It's just so
Head
much
crest and
easier than
weird
all the other
nose
stuff.
Wrinkle. Nose wrinkle.
Yeah.
Not the thing you really find yourself talking about all the time. But.
No. But you are right, though.
You know, I don't think you ever answered the question of which is the best Star Trek show.
I kind of skirted that one.
Yeah.
I was trying not to piss people off.
Well, here we are.
You got to do it now.
That one's really tough for me because obviously I grew up with the original series, so Kirk, Spock are big fans, or I'm a big fan of that. So that generation is kind of my thing. But I also grant that watchability maybe not the highest. It's tough to go back and rewatch those sometimes. So I don't know. That's a real tough one. The problem is it's kind of like, for me, it's kind of like asking what's the best Doctor Who because they all suck.
Whoa.
Agreed. I fucking hate that show.
Fucking horrible, right? But the Star Trek stuff I always love. It's just that all the shows never grab me. Like Next Generation's got some really good storytelling that happens in it, but the shows are really lackluster from the acting. Like I said, Strange New Worlds has really done it for me. The Lower Decks one is really amazing. It's the animated one.
Yeah.
It's really amazing. It's got some really deep storytelling in the midst of this comedy animated Star Trek thing. So I find that it grabs me a lot. Strange New Worlds I like. Discovery I didn't dig as much, but the visuals are really bitchin'. I haven't ever watched Voyager, but I've watched some things about Star Trek that have focused on Voyager, and I think I would like it. I just recently started watching Deep Space Nine for the first time.
Is Voyager
Deep Space
with
Nine
Janeway?
Janeway.
Janeway. Oh, no, that's Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
Who's the commander in Voyager?
Voyager is Janeway.
That's Janeway.
Is that
Deep
Janeway?
Space Nine is Cisco.
Cisco, okay.
Yep.
Deep Space Nine, I think, is the best show, but it's not necessarily the best Star Trek show.
I've enjoyed what I'm seeing with it so far. I just need to, I need
17.
Well, the party 117, no less.
Excuse me, yes.
Thank you for the raid, Jimmy. Got a ton of raiders in chat right now, spamming emotes.
What is going on, everybody?
We've been all over Deep Space Nine at the moment, says Jimmy. Nice. Yeah, we're talking about our favorite Star Trek shows at the moment. Let us know if you guys have any opinions. As someone who grew up with the original Doctor Who series, well, okay, traumatized by the old series. Yeah, honestly, my family really loves the TV show. I seem to be the weird outlier who doesn't enjoy it all that much.
I liked the first season of the revival, and since then, it was watchable at best.
Who was the doctor in that one?
That was
Matt Smith.
Christopher Eccleston.
Christopher
right?
Eccleston.
The one season he had.
Okay.
I enjoyed that a lot. And then David Tennant took over, and David Tennant was good in the role, but the show really kind of drove to the middle of the road.
We are.
And then
11 is.
That's where we've been.
Doctor Who is for me is a really amazing storytelling, world building thing, with just horrible because it's that BBC sci-fi that the visuals are garbage and the acting's always been mediocre. But the stories have been the stories have always made me want more. Like I'm always like, good God, can we get them to make like a cool movie or something? Spend some money on this.
I remember one episode about the weeping angels, who are like these stone angel statues that are like lethal. I can't really remember the whole story about them, but that was a pretty creepy concept and a cool episode. Does this mean Scott's getting a Monument paint collection? I have some version of a collection. I don't know what revision it is. I know I got my hands on it when Creature Caster was still affiliated with you.
I thought we sent you a whole new batch of paints here recently.
Yeah. I gave the old stuff to Curtis and I kept the new stuff for myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got stuff to play around with. I'm gonna just blast this with a hairdryer.
Unfortunately, when you mute your mic, it doesn't mute his mic.
Right, that's why I didn't even bother.
Oh, whoops. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
It doesn't
That's
matter.
fine.
They can handle it.
The first comment, my ears!
My ears! My leg!
I'm destroyed.
Either Scott intentionally misunderstood or the answer is no. No signature collection. Oh, no, yeah.
Signatures, no, we spoke about that earlier.
Yeah.
Scott and I have talked at length about it, you know, and it just genuinely has to be a genuine feel for the paint from both sides, right? You know, you got to make it part of your daily usage.
Right.
Or what's the purpose? We don't want people feeling like, oh, you're just shilling a company's stuff. Nobody wants that.
Right.
The real reason Jason came out here is he's going to take all of the other paints out of the studio so Scott has no choice.
Scott, what's that over there?
Yeah, exactly.
Just puts it on a garbage bag.
And then coincidentally, all you've been using for a while is Monument paint, Scott.
I mean,
Easy.
As he cries.
As
he like weeps.
I'm a lazy painter, right? What I have there is servicing me. And if something is going to replace something on there, it needs to really revolutionize the way I paint or be an interesting color. Oftentimes interesting colors get up there. So your mahogany is very cool to me. I like mahogany. It's super rich brown red color. But I don't want to think a whole lot about the paint that I'm using while I paint. I want the paint to be an extension of what I'm doing. And so the less I have to think about it, the better. And if I'm experimenting a lot with paints, then I discover that what I'm thinking about and what I'm doing and how I'm motivated is for the sake of testing, not for the sake of just painting how I want to paint. So I just kind of default to what's simple. And I would never take what I use as like, that's what Scott thinks is best. No, that's just what is most simple and easy for me to grok.
Scott's got inertia too, where it's like, yeah, he could use a different, jade color or whatever, but he has a jade color on the shelf.
Yeah.
Game Delay says if you win at BattleTech, you get to replace all your paints with Pro Acryl.
That's the prize.
If you lose at BattleTech, you have to replace all your paints with Pro Acryl.
It's the same thing. The Payne's Gray is goated. I've heard it is. On the topic, been using some of the Vinci V Sig paint, and that Payne's Gray is just, I don't know how to type out the sound effect of Chef's Kiss, but it's like that.
Yeah.
Convenience is indeed king, the JDI.
He'd been beating us on for Payne's Gray for a long time.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of people that had said, you need a Payne's Gray and all that. We had like dark blue and dark purple and some other things, and blue-black. But Payne's Gray is good. The Dark Sea Ben is amazing.
Dark Sea Ben,
the only paint.
I freaking love that.
The only paint that doesn't have, a standard color name on it. I will forever hold Ben in high regard for the fact that he was able to con us into putting his name on that.
I mean,
paint bottle.
if you're gonna make any paint like that, named like that, it's got to be that one.
It's like, it's his namesake, so it's kind of like, it's like, okay, you win.
I did see. Velcro Snake says, we play in BattleTech. We will be playing BattleTech on Twitch. So if you're watching on Twitch here, if you're watching on YouTube, on our Twitch page, twitch.tv/Miniac, tomorrow in the afternoon. Around this time, if you're not in our area.
Well, a little bit earlier than
We're going to be starting at about this 2 hours-ish earlier than we started today.
Yeah, like 1:32, something like that. We're going to get some lunch with John after the podcast because we're recording an episode of the podcast with Jason, and then we'll come back, and then we'll fire up some motherfucking BattleTech. Have you ever played BattleTech, Evan?
I've played everything but BattleTech.
Okay. Everything but.
That sounds...
I mean, like, I've played the BattleTech computer game. I've played every Mech Warrior game. Sure. I've played Mech Warrior Online.
So he's in universe. He's
2,000
just not...
hours of it.
Just not the mini war.
I have like 25 BattleTech books that I've read or whatever.
God damn.
Listen, BattleTech is
why didn't you pick that game to play it like when you first were getting into the hobby?
I was gonna say.
It's weird. It's almost like the miniatures don't attract you to the game.
Yes.
And
Not
I
the sexy
remember I
models.
didn't choose to be a wargamer. It just kind of happened.
Yeah.
I was forced.
I wouldn't go that far. It's just what was being played at the source regularly. Song of Ice and Fire. I saw people playing it. They were getting booted off of Mondays because Paint Night was back, and we were kicking into Wednesdays. And then Black Friday rolled around, and it's like, I need things to paint. Sure. I'll buy that Song of Ice and Fire game that everyone says is so great around here.
I have a lot of those minis. I've painted up a lot of Baratheons.
Did you bring your Baratheons?
No.
You getting a game in?
I don't have enough, so unless you have 2 armies, I will gladly play with you.
I do have 2 armies.
But I have...
Is tomorrow going to turn into a doubleheader?
I have Baratheons and I have Night's Watch.
I have a painted Bolton army and a painted Greyjoy army.
I saw your Greyjoys over there. They're awesome.
I don't know if I can.
I have a painted
So happy
Night's
with those
Watch
armies.
army.
They look really good.
Thank you. Yes, and you have every army.
I have like all but 10 boxes for the game.
Damn.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it's
He
out,
went in.
it's
He
out
went
of
in
control.
deep. He went in deep.
Yeah, I'm gonna sell all of it.
You're gonna sell all of it.
They nerfed Night's Watch slightly, so game's dead.
Game's dead.
No
Game
one should
sucks.
play it anymore.
Game sucks. I quit.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Are you actually gonna sell all of it?
No, of course not.
Oh, okay.
Game's fine.
I have Night's Watch for 1 model. Can you guess what 1 model made me buy Night's Watch? And
Jon Snow.
nope. Screw that guy.
The guy on
Cold
the
Hands.
the elk. Yeah, cold hands.
Yes.
Yeah. That I don't know if the model is still good, but that model was an amazing inclusion in a Night's Watch army. Did they nerf it?
They nerfed Cold Hands slightly this patch. He only respawns once now.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even care what he did.
Yeah.
I was just like, yep, if I'm painting, I paint those. And then I bought Baratheon because they had like the best like knights, like just knights.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
heavy
the
army.
Queensmen and Kingsmen are both amazing looking. They just have a bunch of cool dudes in heavy armor with dynamic poses.
Yeah, exactly. And the Baratheon horseback guys were big chonky boys.
Yeah,
So I was just into all that, so I bought those, but I haven't really spent all that. I did a deal on stream about, how to set up and paint a unit very quickly, and I think in 2 streams we painted a brick of, I don't remember what Baratheon guys they were, knights with hammers, and that was a lot of fun. But I never played,
Okay.
Wad Tomaton wants to know if I'll be cosplaying as Vince again at Adepticon. I'm growing out my hair for it already.
Nice.
So good.
Join me in becoming Vince.
I am become Vince.
I am become Vince.
I am become this.
I still haven't seen that Oppenheimer movie.
Oh, we were just talking about that the other day.
Yeah.
It's kind of overrated. It's good.
Is it?
It's good. Not great.
Is it better than Barbie?
You'd never find me watching Barbie, so I can't answer that. But
Are you too good for Barbie?
I'm too good for Barbie, baby.
God damn. You said it. He's here. We've heard it here. Jason's too good for Barbie.
Just not a movie that speaks to me. Let's be honest. The Oppenheimer has a really great score, though, so it gets big points from me just because it has some big sweeping music time that is kind of like takes the moment, and I like that. I really like
A lot of
big,
good energy.
yeah, I like big music scores that fit the moment in the movie. They're not just thrown there so you can sell a soundtrack.
Yeah. I recently upgraded my home theater setup, and I have come to really appreciate movies that have good sound mixes.
Yeah.
And so I've started to look at the Oscar nominees for best sound mixing, and I've been watching those to test out some fun speakers and things, and it makes the whole experience just so much more cinematic and immersive. And so it's just cool when movies do that. I just picked up the 4K upscale of Conan the Barbarian with a 5.1 audio surround soundtrack on it, and I'm excited to
Quick,
watch
someone play the Conan emote.
the Conan emote.
Who's Conan in that?
What is best in life?
We have sound alerts, and one of them is the what is best in life.
Nice.
No, you said you got the 4K Conan. Which Conan?
the first one, the only one,
All right.
the only one
best
worth
in life?
watching.
There it is.
Schwarzenegger.
Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, they hear the
Arrow
lamentation
Video
of the
did
women.
a reprint of the
What is best in life?
4K.
Crush your
Scanned
enemies,
the film and everything.
see them
really?
driven before
Yeah.
Holy
you,
cow.
they hear the lamentation of the women.
2 in a row.
I have a new sound system, but now I have an 8-month-old baby, so I can't use it for a long time.
the
You can't
light.
wake that baby up. Yeah.
Crush your enemies.
There's another Conan.
Driven before you.
There,
You hear the lamentation
there's
of the
several.
women.
I mean, also, let me backpedal a little bit. Red Sonja is also pretty fucking good. I enjoy Red Sonja.
I like the sequel to Conan. It's a very different movie, but it's still
I know
fun.
you like it. I know you like it. I mean, maybe that's why I didn't like it, because I watched the first one and I was like, this movie fucking is awesome. It's so epic and dour and just like so everyone just sucks in that world. They all suck. And I loved it. There was so little dialogue.
Is the first one James Earl Jones?
Yeah, James Earl Jones as the coolest villain ever. I fucking love his haircut. His cronies all have the same haircut.
Metal.
Yes.
They're in the same. They're in a sick hair metal band together.
So the first one is definitely grimdark.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, 100%. It's grimdark.
It sells that. The second one is still a really fun action adventure movie. It's just not doing that specific thing anymore.
They went like Indiana Jones with it.
Yeah,
No,
too
not quite that
lighthearted,
far.
too buddy cop.
I think you need to revisit it because it
I'll
also
watch it again.
it does have the actual best Conan line in the second movie when they get confronted in the temple as they're trying to leave, and like hand her over or whatever. I can't remember what the guy says. Where he's demanding that Conan hand over the character that he's protecting, and Conan just yells, "Enough talk!" and throws the sword into the guy just in the middle of this negotiation. That shit's cash.
It's just that, so I grew up with Conan, and so, he was like, originally he was more like a thief.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And so it was neat to see just the big swagger Conan, but that was more like King Conan that they brought out with Schwarzenegger.
Wait, so is there a movie adaptation before Conan?
Think so. I think Schwarzenegger's was the first, wasn't it?
I don't actually know. So what media did you find this other Conan in who was more of a thief and whatnot? I've never heard of
Books
this.
in the original comics.
okay.
All the stuff that it came from.
Was it, so it originally is a
Robert E.
comic.
Howard.
Okay, I've heard that name before.
Yeah, that's right.
exists
Conan the
as an
Barbarian is
entire world
technically
of-
a comic book movie before they were cool.
Okay.
Kind of like how Blade is a comic book movie that no one understands as a comic book movie.
Yeah.
That movie is
Wesley
also-
Snipes.
I fucking love the original Blade.
Yeah, it's the same sort of thing. The original Blade has some serious dark energy to it.
Yeah.
And then the sequels are just kind of let's just make action movies.
Yeah.
No seriousness at all.
Yeah, we didn't think this was going to go anywhere, so...
Wow, that first one was successful. Let's make some more money.
yeah.
The third one is the most egregious, where they're gearing up for the fight, and it's, oh yeah, she likes to listen to her iPod while she fights vampires. With the zoom in on her ears. Truly.
There are so many grays.
Obanium Prism wants to know, hey Miniac, I was wondering if I wanted to start casting my own sculpted miniatures, are there any companies or suggestions on how to start?
Okay,
Wow.
so I've done a couple of different ones, and I use a company called CMA Creative Solutions in England, and I like them a lot because all they do is cast models. That is their job. They are a client-based casting service. They don't have their own products and stuff like that. And so I don't know if they're right for you, but if I were to give you a piece of advice, it would be to find a company that isn't selling their own models, or if they are, they have an employee that's dedicated to doing client casting. Because if you don't have that, say if you get like Creature Caster stuff for you or someone similar, you are always going to take second place to their stuff, and there will be months where you don't have your product and stuff like that. So find a company that's job is resin casting and that doesn't make a lot of their own products. And for me, that's a British company, again, called CMA Creative Solutions. They're awesome. I love them.
Immediately sends you to Europe.
Yep. I don't. If
There's
there
no U.S. casting.
is there, okay, I didn't know if you knew of any.
Nope.
I haven't searched a ton. I know there used to be one called like Metal and Oak or something like that. There were some guys out in Missouri that were doing it, but it wasn't a real deal thing. It was just kind of like a mom and pop situation.
Yeah. Like kind of a hobby gig.
Yeah.
There's nobody here that I would recommend in the States or North America in general to go get models made by.
I know that MCDM found a company that does industrial casting that ended up doing all of their resin minis, which have been pretty good. I haven't assembled all of the stuff from their most recent miniatures line, but it was very much like instead of finding a company that does miniatures, they found a company that does casting, and we're like, hey, can you do resin miniatures?
Yeah.
And they do it. Yeah, Trenchworks, that's it. Thank you. And they're in like Montana or something. But I don't know if they're open to working with other people, because I think most of what they do is industrial casting. So, and MCDM obviously has scale on their side.
All right, now we're gonna hit this silver with some black wash just to darken it down even more, and then I'll come back in with some silver paint that I apply with the sponge. I actually found an even darker silver that I wish I would have used called Dwarven Iron, because I want this metal to look
Hell yeah.
really muddy and nasty.
You're not a dwarf.
I love it. I love it. This wash is called...
Evan's like, Jason's never invited back. But I liked mine.
I brought this upon myself.
You've brought this destruction upon yourself.
That's the funniest thing.
This wash is a little blue. It's not super black. Also, I'm not doing a whole lot.
Someone was saying that this is a Too Thin Coats wash.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone was saying that one of the black washes...
There's multiple?
Maybe, I don't know. A black wash from Too Thin Coats was different than the others because it dried more glossy.
Oh, I remember reading that. You're right.
That was probably an hour ago in the chat. So.
I don't necessarily mind if my metals look a little glossy, so that's not too big of a deal. But it's not really darkening down anything. It's kind of just slipping and sliding off of the surface, and it looks a little grayish and a little bluish, not like true black. So not a huge fan of Oblivion Black Wash. If you're gonna call it Oblivion Black Wash, I believe it should probably be as dark as you can manage. And this is a little grayish and a little blue, which is fine. That's an option.
William says, my brush coffin and the 3 miniatures are just days away.
Days away.
Yeah, the European fulfillment is finally like happening, right?
It's happened. I think it's done. I think everything has a tracking number and is shipped and is on its way to people.
So are we going to do that thing that we talked about?
Yeah. Right now, I'm not working on YouTube videos. I haven't been. Well, I got sick for a fucking week. It was so annoying.
Oh, it sucks.
Yeah, you sounded rough even after you were better.
I know. Yeah. But that's why I have a little bit of a cough, if you're curious, Jason. I was sick.
No, we got the same thing going around in Arizona. Jen and I both got it. Lingering cough. You know, you're destined for another 2 weeks of that.
I know, it's so
horrible.
Annoying. It's so annoying. But I haven't been working on YouTube videos. I've been just working on finishing those masterclass courses, and then as soon as that's done, we'll do that stream and launch all that product for real.
Awesome.
Very cool.
And then I can move on with my life.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to your video breaking down the trials and tribulations of running a Kickstarter.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to, and Amber's not looking forward to doing this, but I'm going to have her do the cost analysis of if it made any money.
Yeah,
because she was doing all the math. She was doing all the accounting for that, and so we have it all like tagged with like a Kickstarter label in our accounting software, so it shouldn't be too hard to figure it all out. But man, that stuff builds up over time. It's just one thing after another.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Stuff people we've with our first game coming out.
Yeah,
we've been having to discuss internally all the. Okay, what are we doing? What's the marketing release like?
Can you talk about that at all? Like what that is and
the game?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's called Age of Angra. It is a. I call it a card fighter. I think there's something else called a card fighter, so I don't know if that's the right term. If you've ever done like
Flesh and Blood,
like Street Fighter, video games, like Street Fighter Tekken Tag is the one I bring up, where you go and you pick 2 characters and you pick 2 characters and we just fight it out and we can tag in each of our characters. It's like that, but with cards. So the characters are cards, and they each have a set of abilities. You whittle down and pick a small subset of the abilities that they have and lay it out on your side of the board. You've got health trackers. There are artifacts that you can place on your characters if you want to. And then you, as the game player, are what's called a shepherd. These characters are creatures that have, come through the veil of time, let's say, and there's a whole backstory for it. and you are a shepherd in the human realm, right? You're one of the few people that can talk to these creatures and guide them. And so there are scenarios that you play where you go head to head against another player that's a shepherd as well. And so there's various shepherd classes that have different kind of global effects on the creatures you're controlling. And you just fight. It's very fast. It's very fast and bloody. Time to kill is really short.
10-minute games?
Not quite that fast. It's probably, I would say, like 30 minutes.
Okay.
You know, once you get the rules down. Your first game will probably take you more like an hour as you figure it all out.
Okay.
But a general scenario is like anywhere from 5 to 7 rounds. And a round is literally like, I'm putting this guy in the ring, I'm choosing this ability, your opponent does the same, and then you compare the abilities, do the damage, and then go to round 2. So it can be pretty quick.
Okay. Hey,
So you play as Shepard, so how hard was it to get the Mass Effect license?
To get what?
The Mass Effect license.
Oh, not that shepherd. What?
I gotta get him with a couple of these,
What?
Scott.
Froggy says what's going on.
He hasn't had the gall to say intense in the studio yet.
Says,
So.
aha, it's Pokemon. No.
Yeah.
It is not Pokemon. JK, what's going on? Casey Holt.
If you can link up those casters or so, you just look it up. Just look up CMA Creative Solutions, find their contact info.
They're legitimately on Google.
Yeah, just get their
Super simple.
get their email, send them an email.
CMA Creative Solutions. Just in case you can't hear CMA.
Monument Hobbies Pal World confirmed. Yes, you can capture your best friend and then butcher them.
That is by
ours is a
far
little
the
more
best
hardcore. It
feature.
doesn't pixelate out the butchering part.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Anything in a PAL ball is a PAL. So logically, you can do whatever you want once you capture them.
They're not animals. They're sentient, kind of godlike creatures, and you're not controlling them. You're just the only humans they'll talk to. So you become shepherds.
I see.
Yeah, but we will have miniatures for those. So the miniatures, it's not a miniatures game per se, but we have miniatures that come with special cards for the game, so that instead of like the full art character card with the stat line on it, you'll have the stat line and then an area where you set your miniature, and that way you can scoot your card and your miniature in and out of the ring for fighting too. But the miniatures are really just to collect your favorite, character from the game, get a miniature, put it on your shelf, paint it up, have fun.
Can I throw Baby J character on the bus in that game?
Yes.
Sounds great.
Poor Jordan. Now, that's sparking all sorts of ideas, though. We do need a Baby J. Hey, Gabe, are you still out there? Gabe, put it on the whiteboard. You'll occasionally see Monument J pipe in and say, "It's going on the board." He captures all the bad ideas we have. And they're literally on a whiteboard in his office, and we talk about them during our marketing meetings. So what bad ideas are we doing now?
All right, let me see what you're working on here.
Blue skin and weird color hair. I want to do kind of like a white gray hair. So
Got a bit of a side eye going here too.
that's the way she sculpted. I didn't sculpt pupils. I didn't have pupils sculpted in, but yeah, that's the whole thing. A raised eyebrow smirk.
Okay. I like how you got that highlight too, and that like little mouth muscle right there. Very nice.
A little frown line.
I also like this giant cork thing you have.
This is, yeah, I've used corks as my miniature holders forever. And you can get, like, this is a size maybe 32. They go up to like 40s, like huge things. Like, I don't know
It's like
what kind of...
perfect for that though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe dark ivory.
I already know what the problem is.
But yeah, we've got 2 games scheduled for release this year.
God damn.
And this whole started because you were talking about Kickstarter, right? And
Yeah.
Kickstarter for us, we've always stayed away from Kickstarter. It's not something we've ever even had as a thought for any of our products. And now with the game, it's like, well, that's kind of the world games market themselves in nowadays, is the whole crowdfunding, whether GameFound, Kickstarter. It's like that's how people that are shopping for new games kind of find their new games in a big way. So we're deliberating on do we do a Kickstarter even though we've already made the product.
Have you come to a decision with that, or
No, we keep going back and forth internally. It's generally me that can't make a decision because Jen and I both don't like crowdfunding, and so from our standpoint, we're like, no, I mean we're already paying the money to make the units, so we're going to make all these game units, and we have a good group of retailers, but we would just then have to figure out our marketing, because there's a lot of content creators that just focus on talking about games that are coming to Kickstarter.
Yeah, Kickstarter or GameFound or whatever.
Yeah, but now we've discussed, we've interviewed and gotten in contact with a bunch of YouTube content creators that focus in the tabletop gaming world, not miniature gaming world, but board games, and they do reviews and things. And we were pleasantly surprised to see that a lot of those people will not do any focuses on games until the Kickstarter has delivered.
Wow, okay.
So they've gotten wise to the whole dilemma of Kickstarter. They don't want to have their name attached to, well, you told me this game was great, so I backed the Kickstarter, and 4 years later, I still don't have my game.
Can you say who you've reached out to? Have you reached out to Shut Up, Sit Down?
Shut Up, Sit Down, Dice Tower. There's
No pun included or no pun intended. I forget the name of the channel, but I love that one too.
There's a bunch of them that we've reached out to, and it's
Rodney Smith's Watch It Played.
What? Rodney Smith's Watch It Played?
Watch It
I believe
Played's
so.
pretty
His
good.
channel is a fucking institution when it comes to games and stuff like that. Board games.
Yeah, and so now that we've learned that a lot of those guys and gals don't want to participate until the Kickstarter's over and done, we're thinking, well, then maybe we just go back to traditional launch, because we're going to have. We're making the first round right now. We'll have the physical samples in-house next week, hopefully.
That's freaking cool.
Are you going to be previewing this at Adepticon then?
We will have some at Adepticon, so we'll see. I don't know at what capacity we will. It just depends on when I know I'm going to have them in stock for actual release as to how big we go.
Sure.
But we'll have the game at the booth, or at worst case, maybe we'll have it in the suite, where we can have people come up and see it.
Rolls Royce says it's a good way to find games too if they're on crowdfunding. I got Dice Throne on Kickstarter. Dice Throne is a fucking amazing game. Also, someone just said Rivenstone ...
I know.
Yeah, that's definitely one we can
lot of
point
them.
at. Yeah, there's a lot more than just Rivenstone too.
Yeah, Mythic Games seems to be just imploding.
Mythic is just done. I
Mythic
think.
is imploding.
Yeah.
Well, they just got
Wait,
all
the
the
guys
big
that-
ones that people are
Super
mad
Fantasy
about just
Brawl?
got taken
Yeah.
over by Simon.
No.
Well, yeah, exactly. Simon owns Super Fantasy Brawl now, among other properties that they're bailing out. So
Okay.
Which was weird, that whole thing. So I don't know. Yeah, there's good blood, bad blood in the crowdfunding world, and so as Monument Hobbies, we just don't like the idea of crowdfunding in general. So it seems a little hypocritical to go and crowdfund a game.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're
Well, I
dealing with
respect
that.
that. I
We're dealing with
respect
that. We're dealing with that. But we have to look at the reality of we also need to, have the best ability to market the game. So we're, when I get back from this trip and we have the hard samples and we go to Adepticon and we start talking and we can show dealers the actual product, that's when it is going to become, I hate to say that's when it becomes real, but that's when it becomes real. Because you can hand it to somebody and say, okay, here, or we can do a Let's Play video and show people that here's the real game and start garnering through our normal channels.
And you
interest
can
in it.
buy it right now.
Yeah. Yeah, because we'll have 4,000 units that show up here in March, and so we can just launch it.
Yeah. Scabbard's asking a hobby question to both of us. What's your advice for painting a lot of heavy, dark, and dirty leather? I think you should focus on a paint range that has a little bit more of a satin finish to it, and that helps when making a nice oily leather. I would start from a black undercoat. I might apply my base coat with a sponge to get that dappled look. If you don't push too hard with the sponge, you'll keep some of that black in the recesses, and it'll be a nice recess shade. But my normal advice for leathers is just lots of layers of texture, tuning it down with glazes, just to get a lot of layers of variety. I think leather has a lot of variety in it. Someone just gave me $20. Holy shit.
Says coffee on me. Can I ask why you chose the screw caps for the paints, Jason? I used to not like them, but lately I've come around. I was curious what the reasoning behind choosing them in the first place was.
No, it's a great question. The caps that we use are, I think I have actually a bottle here that isn't opened, right? My black wash, yeah. So if I show you the inside of the cap, so we have like the only way that you can really seal a cap. So droppers don't seal, none of these really seal, they're not airtight, and we really wanted to make sure that our paint had a great shelf life, as good as it could be, right? We seal them during manufacturing at HQ, and they've all got seals in the top. So this is the one cap that does that very well, right? Because it has this little nipple that sticks out the top that seals the top of the cap, and then you've got seals for the screw thread here. So, you know, like I can feel comfortable throwing them in my luggage when I travel and they're fine. You can have them on your shelf for a long time and know that they're not going to go bad so long as you keep them closed after you use them. And it works really well. From a usage standpoint, a lot of people, you know, are like, you know, oh, but I get this little bit of paint on the tip, right? But I mean, that is not hardly wasteful at all. It basically cracks off whenever you open the thing, just take it off. And then when you put out a little bit on your palette, right, you can put out a little drop on your palette, and then when you close the bottle and it has that little paint there, just add that to the palette. You're using every bit of it, so. Yeah, we like them. It had to grow on me too, though, because remember, I mean, I've been painting for 45 years, and so I've come up from testers, glass bottles, and tube paints to, you know, normal dropper lids. And so it took a minute for me to get used to it too, because it was different. I had the ability to have used tattoo inks in the time when I was tattooing, and so that, you know, made it a little bit easier for me because their bottles are very similar to ours.
You know, one thing I'm hearing a lot from you, Jason, that I'm really appreciating is how many just good consumer practices you are implementing over at Monument. The older I get, the more cynical I get, and I just see so many companies just abusing customers in very subtle ways, ways that are hard to detect. And I've heard like 3 or 4 things that you are during your product design and how you represent your company to your customers that are just very positive things. Like you're looking out for people that buy your stuff. And you know, that may not be the most profitable way to run a company, but I think that's the way that you run a company for it to last forever.
It doesn't matter. We don't need money today. We need money 10 years from now.
I know.
We need a customer base that understands why we make the products we do. And the reality, we're just hobbyists. Like I do this all day, every day. And you know, we're not, this isn't an industry, number one, that you get into if you want to be rich, right? That's the first thing I tell people. I was like, you know, when I talk to what I jokingly refer to as real business people, you know, and they're like, you do what? And I'm like, exactly. You know, it's not the kind of industry that a lot of people know about. Doesn't mean that it can't be successful, but the reality for Jen and I was that we just want to make the products we would use. That's what drives our product development. A lot of people say, hey, why don't you have a wet palette? I'm not saying we wouldn't ever have a wet palette. Jordan uses a wet palette all the time. I don't. And so for me, it feels, like you said earlier, it feels disingenuous, you know, because I'm like, well, I really want to be able to get behind everything we sell. I will pick up any color in our line and paint with it all day long, right? I will get behind any product that we have. I use them all. I use our travel case. I use our tools. Every product that we have, I stand behind. And, you know, our customer service has to be able to do the same. And, you know, so yeah, it's good that people see that, because that's really what our focus is to make sure that as a hobbyist, we want it to be exciting. This should be a fun thing that we do and not a struggle. You know, when I design products, I want them to be fun to use and have a spot that makes sense.
I love that.
Hud the Hobby Daddy has a good follow-up question to that. Since you're a left-handed painter, when are you going to release the left-handed paint brushes that you seem to use?
All of our brushes are left-handed.
No. That can't be. That
Down with
can't
righty.
be possible.
Down with righty.
Down with righty. We joke about it all the time. Shelby, who does a lot of our paintbrush checking, you know, she's always talking about how she's too busy to mess with us because she's checking left-handed brushes. So yeah, it's a big joke.
Thanks for the $20 donation. I appreciate that a lot, Mark. Mark Scapetta. Jason abuses me because he won't make plaid paints.
They always ask for plaid and hot pink.
You have a hot pink paint?
Huh?
Dude, can I make a signature set that has one paint in it?
And it's just hot pink. I'll do that for you.
It comes in its own cardboard box and it's just one paint.
It's just
Believe
a
it or
giant
not,
bottle.
Believe
It's
it or not,
in the
one of the
same
new
size as the
one of the
6
paints
paints.
that's coming out for Adepticon is dark hot pink. So we still need a hot pink.
Okay.
So it could happen.
Okay. Let's do that on April Fools.
It could happen. It'll be one of our wizard's butt colors.
Yeah.
But we'll just call it Miniac butt.
No, hot pink is mine, says Jen. Says Jen. Okay, all right.
Jen gets a signature paint.
All right. I think you definitely
At
have priority.
our Christmas stream, we gave away Jen's signature set. It's the only one in the world. She went through and picked her 12 favorite colors, and the person that won that got her 12 favorite colors in a custom box that she did.
There's only one of them?
Yeah. Yeah, she only made one for Christmas.
Okay.
Jen's an amazing painter. She will say
Look, I
she's
haven't seen
not.
anything she's painted.
Oh my God, she paints amazing.
Does she have an Instagram?
She does have an Instagram. I don't think that she puts it up there, but I will show you here.
Yeah, what is it?
The
I know
Scott's rule is
have.
if you don't have an
I'm very
Instagram, you're not a
proud.
good painter,
I'm very
so.
proud of Jen and her painting. So
I do not think that, Evan, but
Yeah, someone out there is going to take that seriously.
yeah, let me go out there and say that's not the case.
oh good God, when you go scrolling back through your pictures and you realize like, oh,
I
take a lot of pictures and that's
Don't show
years
that on
back.
stream. Nope, can't show that either.
That's a million years ago that I'm looking for this picture for. Oh, there's one.
the heck? Chat went empty.
Rusty looking.
Well, there's a real up close version of
Oh, nice.
like a 3D printed tiger head.
I respect so much people who can like paint like actual like animal fur patterns and stuff like that. That's something I really struggle with.
Yeah, and she doesn't use an airbrush. She
Oh,
just
for real?
only blends by hand.
I thought that was an airbrush, that
no,
orange was.
I'll find that whole
God
blend.
damn!
Yeah, she's like superior blending skills.
I thought that was that orange for sure was an airbrush.
Oh yeah. No, she will airbrush her primer layer, and that's it.
Damn. I have to keep hitting reload on the stream, making me mad, angry. Why? What happens?
Did it stutter on your end or something?
Yeah, let us know. Maybe we can make it better.
If Twitch is struggling for you, you can always watch on YouTube and vice versa.
That's true. It's on both places.
Yeah, sometimes Twitch's ingest servers give up the ghost.
It's hard. They're just this small little indie company.
Yeah, I know, right? You'd think that. I don't think they've ever turned a profit. Don't catch me lying, but
I watched a YouTube short that
they take too many pictures.
Oh, the pirate software one?
yeah, he was like,
Yeah,
this is
he's
how,
in both our feeds all the time, I think.
yeah, he was like, this is how long this is how much it costs Twitch for me to run a 1080p stream for 8 hours, and it was something
It's
fucking
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
It
like
was
$4,000.
it was like $5,000.
Yeah,
it was like $4,800 or something.
And like that's probably an exaggeration, but even if it's a quarter of that, like oh my god,
Yeah,
holy shit,
that's why they take so much of them subs.
Isn't that crazy?
that is.
Can you show that in front of the camera?
Yeah, yeah.
So nice.
That's not an airbrush blend.
No, there's no airbrushing there at all.
Lies. Lies.
Dan, you've been holding out on us. What the hell?
Yeah, there's no airbrush at all there. That's all brush. She does, she learned to paint from me, and she really took it to heart that she does each individual step between the two. Like if she wants to go from orange to this deep magenta, she does each little step blended. You can look at her palette, and her palette goes from like whatever she started with orange, and then it gets a little redder, and then a little redder and redder, and then eventually it's magenta. But it's like 8,000 gradients.
So it's very like very mechanical in that way. It's
yeah.
It's like very process oriented.
She's like little bitty area blending, little bitty area blending.
Okay.
She does it like an old pro.
Okay.
Like if you went to a very high-end painting class, they'd teach you to do what Jen does. I don't know where she got it. She just kind of took off. I gave her a couple pointers, and she was like, "I got this. Stop talking to me."
Shit's easy.
Yeah, she didn't get near enough time to paint.
And she paints pink. All right.
Yeah, and she loves those. Like, what is that person? I forget. She uses those colors that are from like her childhood, like what her backpack and her Trapper Keeper were in.
Oh, shit! When I painted that,
There's a woman that.
yeah,
Jones something or something like that.
What's the name? Yeah, like the hot, like the super vibrant colors.
Yeah.
Oh,
If Jen's here, she'll tell us. But
someone help us out here.
Lisa Frank.
Lisa
That's it,
Frank.
it's Lisa Frank.
That's it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
because she's doing a whole ode to Lisa Frank that's like, thug life. And it's that tiger and like a unicorn and a bear that she painted, all with
Oh my gosh.
those really smooth blends in front of a brick wall, and all it needs still is the brick wall diorama to have, which I think she needs me to do the lettering, like spray can lettering on it that is either going to say like Hug Life, or if she was still here, she'd tell us. She has a really good idea for.
It's cool. It's cool. She might be stuck in an ad break.
Speaking of Twitch streams costing a lot to produce.
Indeed. It's no wonder why they've been getting more and more aggressive with that and so on.
So little known fact about us is that very early on in Monument's existence, after we switched from Slow Fuse Gaming to being Monument, we did all the groundwork and actually had the programming done and the UI to create our own Twitch.
Were you telling me about this at like LVO or something like that?
Maybe we talked about it at one point. Yeah, we had gone through, we actually had a service provider that gave us a tremendous amount of bandwidth for streaming all this stuff. We had all the back end done. We just could never implement. Our programmer was kind of wishy-washy and he could never tie the loose ends together. And we were having problems finding other programmers that would want to come in and work on his code. But yeah, we had a UI and we streamed to it a couple of times. It was pretty fun. Had chat, had a lot of the stuff that Twitch did, but it was back when like Twitch was getting rid of creative and they got rid of all of our partner account managers. We used to have individual managers that you could talk to that would come into your stream and hang out. They got rid of that years ago. So yeah, we were like, well, screw it, we're gonna make our own. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about when you look at what's the financial impact of all that bandwidth. It's insane.
Live video is not cheap.
It's insane. And to think, like, oh, but what if you have like, 100 people doing it simultaneously? It's more insane. And then you're like, well, Twitch has thousands of people doing it. Some of them to no viewers, and they don't charge people. That was always my thing. I was like, we live rent-free here on Twitch.
We do. YouTube as well. For what it's worth.
That's true.
Keep breaking off hands. Oh God. A little super glue.
Oh yeah, damn it feels good to be a gangster, Jen says. That's what it's gonna say on the wall. Damn it feels good to be a gangster, and has all these brightly colored animals.
Nice.
In the diorama.
So you were talking earlier about your product-focused philosophy. It seems to have really paid off for you guys. Monument's gotten pretty large at this point, right?
Yeah. I mean, we're always blown away. We talk about it on a daily basis internally and at home alone, Jen and I, with the dog, is that we started this just thinking we'd make a few products. If it could support she and I and the dog and, pay the mortgage and, probably similar to conversations you guys have, just if it can provide a lifestyle that you like and, keep filling a niche and doing stuff. And we were doing Twitch and, we just wanted to teach people how to paint, teach them that there's a lot of love in this industry and this community. And we just stuck with it. And Monument is growing daily.
Do you feel like it's getting away from you ever?
There are times where you think about, oh my God, can you believe what's going on? And, how are we going to manage this? That's, typical with any scaling of a business. It tends to feel like it gets away in just processes and systems and, what worked yesterday doesn't work today. And it's scary.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a very real part of that. When you look around and it's like, oh, the CFO tells you that, you can expect your business to grow this much this year, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna die. I think of the meme. It's like, I'm fine.
Yeah, and
the world's burning.
Fine.
I'm fine. This is fine.
This is fine.
But it's all good stuff. I always feel bad because the pressures that we get as Monument are generally really good. They're community driven. We get a lot of good feedback from the community on what works. We get very critical feedback in a great way from the community when something's a little lackluster, and it helps us work to change stuff. We're never afraid to throw the proverbial baby out with the bathwater. If there's something that's not working, we either don't release it and go back to the drawing board, or we change it.
You've ever fully developed a product and then just let it or not release it because it wasn't a good idea or something close to that?
I want to say yes. It's going to take me a minute to think about what that is.
Okay.
What would it be?
These are the questions that I should be asking in the podcast. But
We'll talk about them again then.
I can't help myself, you know?
No, I know. The answer is yes. I mean, we've done things that, like our MDF organizational racks were always something that I thought was really cool because we had a different size bottle, right? We were the first people that released a bottle that was over 17 mil. And so nobody made racks for the paint, so you just had them scattered across your desk. So we made those. Those were never a big seller for us, but they sold really well to the people that bought into the paint, so we continued to make them. We've discontinued that line and don't do that anymore because it wasn't something that was easy to maintain for us, but we felt really bad about it, right? Because people had our racks now and the system linked together and kind of Legoed together, and we were like, well, we're just not making them anymore. Okay. So that's a little bit of it feels bad. I don't know if there was any, Jen might have a better idea than I do of anything that we actually did that we never released. Oh yeah, we made a model holder. That is still a really viable idea, and I would still release it. We just can't make it for the kind of cost that I feel comfortable charging people. I have that problem too, is that if there's a thing where it's like at the end of the day after we go through all the prototyping and I can't make it, the cost goes up, I'm not just gonna raise the retail price and say it's worth it. So we shelve some products because they don't meet our target retail. We've always really thought about value because again, we're hobbyists. If I wouldn't go out and buy that thing, then I wouldn't expect you guys to.
Okay.
Which sometimes is a bad idea because it's called shopping with your own wallet, and I'm a really frugal guy, so I don't spend a lot of money anyway.
Okay.
So sometimes I got to get a reality check.
Spend a lot
on
of
that.
money on steak. Okay, let me tell you that. Jason is
Okay, so if we're going out to dinner,
we are going out to dinner.
If we're going out to dinner, then a good steak dinner is worth its weight in gold, in my opinion.
Okay.
But you don't do that every night. I mean, some people do. I met a woman whose monthly food budget was over $13,000.
Oh my God.
Yeah, isn't that silly?
It's awesome.
Sounds delicious.
I wish I could be her. King D's asking, is slap chop easy to do for someone that has never painted a mini? I think that's its target audience. So I would hope the answer is yes, but the real answer is it kind of depends on the person, if it's going to be easy for you or not. But that's definitely a beginner-focused thing. So not a bad thing to try out if you're just getting into painting. However, I will say this. If you're trying to get into miniature painting for the sake of painting and for the joy of painting, I don't really think that slap chop is a foundation that builds on a lot of other techniques. You can obviously get there. I'm not saying that if you do it, you've ruined yourself. Like, how could you start there? But I'm saying that I'm saying that a lot of things you might learn in doing that, like true, genuine slap chop, aren't really transferable to other styles of more traditional miniature painting. But it's a technique. You should learn it. You should try it out. You should modify it, make it work for you, Yeah,
I was gonna say, because I'm kind of doing that now. I call it value sketching, and that's what I'm doing with this hair, is just to pick up peaks and valleys and brightness and darkness. Is kind of like doing slap chop. I'm not really dry brushing it necessarily, not slapping and chopping as much as you would think. But the idea is the same. Get a very sketchy brightness and darkness to the hair, and then I'm going to put a wash over this to blend out the sketchiness and to drag everything back down, and then put the actual color to it. It just, for me, Scott mentioned earlier he's a lazy painter. I'm a super lazy painter too. I don't want to have to, I want things to go as quick as makes sense for the level of quality I'm trying to achieve. So I don't know if that's a great way to say that, but I like to just have a very open method of painting. When I'm doing base coats and stuff, I like to just be able to kind of swing the brush at the model. I don't want to have to worry about perfect blends this early on when I don't even really know what colors I'm using. And so I've kind of used that mentality to say, yeah, you can just do rough strokes to set up your lighting, and then you can blend all your colors once you get into the serious parts. And so for that part of it, I think slap chop's a good way to kind of look at things, but don't get lost in it, because it can teach you a bunch of bad habits.
Yeah. Game Delay says anything that gets paint on a mini is worth trying. I agree with that.
Exactly.
You got to try out everything, and then you're going to find things that work for you, things that produce an outcome that you're happy with as an individual, things that spend a certain amount of time that you're happy with as an individual. Like, no one's going to tell you what's worth your time and what's good enough. You gotta try it out for yourself first.
That's the thing, right? We're always preaching about only compare yourself to the last miniature you've painted. And so don't worry about what the rest of the world is doing. If you find something that really works and makes you happy with the outcome, repeat it.
Yeah,
just through that repetition, it'll grow. You'll find new ways of doing things. You'll add something that you see Scott do or me do or something like that to what you've already done and had success with, and find further success.
I actually said this before on Twitch, and I really believe this, and I wonder if you believe this too. I really feel lucky that I got into miniature painting when social media and large internet like outlets weren't a thing, and I was just like my little 10-year-old self just sitting in my room on my shitty desk painting, and like I would bring my stuff to the game store and ask the GW employees for like advice, like what's the next thing I should try out, and give me an idea, and I would just go with it. And there was zero comparison. It was just pure joy.
Oh yeah.
You didn't sit there looking at your menu after an hour and going, "Oh man, this doesn't look as good as insert content."
There was
creator."
no angry people that had stubbed their toe when they woke up in the morning that are telling you how bad your paint is. You know.
Yeah. There was none of that. Everyone was just super chill, and it was I really wish that for everyone that they could have that experience, but of course we can't reverse time. We can't slow the march of technology, as it were. But it's really important that you're able to find joy in your own success. As they say, comparison is the thief of joy. So yeah, I don't know why we started going down that road.
We were talking about
it comes from that whole
originally.
slapshot thing, you know. It's like if you're a beginning painter, I think in today's world you can get directed into things that don't feel comfortable but are being exposed as being here's the place to start.
Right. Yeah.
And if you do it and you don't like the outcome, don't feel bad.
Yeah.
Art is chaos. It is not. There are no rules. There are guidelines that we talk about in artwork for how to thin paint or what a great brush size to use in order to do this particular task. There are some things that just are kind of, they feel like rules because if you try to break them, then it just doesn't work, right? But that's it. From a standpoint of what you do, how you make it look, how you get to there, it doesn't matter. There's, as many ways to paint as there are painters. Scott and I could sit here with the exact same model, use the exact same colors on every part of the model, have it all pre-scripted, and the models will look completely different at the end because our techniques are different, and we could both achieve something we were very proud of at the end, but they look totally different, even though they were very done and exactly the same. And I think that's perfectly fine. That's why I say just judge your own stuff. Look for inspiration, because I am jealous of the fact that when I started mini painting in the late 70s, early 80s, that there wasn't social media to go look at what people were doing. Because I feel like I probably spent decades without very much inspiration because there weren't a whole lot of people mini painting that I could go talk to. And so you just got, it's that syndrome of, oh yeah, my stuff's great. But you don't know because you don't compare it to anything,
right.
So you don't grow. And I got very lucky. I got to sit in classes with Shepard Payne, who was a big...
Fucking Shepard Payne,
yeah.
For real?
Yeah,
wow.
Guy out of Chicago. You know Shepard Payne?
Oh yeah, I do.
Great diorama builder.
I have Shep Payne's book on photographic miniatures.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, he's great. Yeah, and he was one of the greatest. And I got to sit in 2 classes with him, and shouldn't have been there. Had none of the basics that needed to have been in that class, but it was revelatory for me because even though I didn't maybe gain as much out of the class itself, I walked away with like his How to Build Dioramas book and How to Do Weathering book and things like that. And so then that really showed me because I sat in a classroom with people that were worlds beyond what I could do. And as a kid, I was just like, I'm going to do that. And so you went home and you worked on it,
Yeah.
And so I do like the inspiration part of all of the information that's available for us, but I do agree that if you let yourself get caught into I'll never be that good, then it's a bummer.
Yeah, it's a big
just don't
bummer.
do that.
Big bummer.
John Palmer posted this Hemingway quote in the chat. There is nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility is being superior to your former self.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always said I have a hard time with good, better, best when discussing different people. I don't mind it when you say, that I'm the best version of myself today. This is the best miniature I've ever painted. That's great. But when you start saying who's the best miniature painter, that's a conversation I don't like being involved in. Because I don't believe that as humans we can be good, better, best. We just have different capabilities at different times, right?
Yeah.
And you can learn the capability assuming that you have all the motor skills and physical acumen and tools available to you to do it. You could go out and be a fast swimmer.
But for real though, who's the best miniature painter?
You.
Is it Kirill Kanaev?
Huh?
The big
Kirill?
Russian? Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, man. That's, again, it's all subjective, right? Whose stuff do you like the most? Do you like Kirill's? Kirill's stuff is really, really great.
Yeah. No, that's...
Chistov is great.
Right,
Eric Swenson is blowing my mind lately with some of the stuff he's doing.
Yeah. All those painters you just mentioned are all great.
Yeah. Fantastic guys. But amongst themselves, they're all very different, too.
Yeah.
You find some carbon copy and people that have that kind of European style and the way that they apply color, and it looks very similar, but it's still good. I am doing like the Andorian look here. Is it Andorian or Andorian Star Trek? Blue skin, white hair?
I can't remember the name.
I'm doing blue skin, white hair. I don't need coal black. I need that black wash I just said.
Blue skin, white hair sounds like a song title.
I'm not using Pro Krill, which I feel kind of I don't mean to be.
This was not a dude. This is us. This is us nerding out, man. This is not a market pro. This is not a like you saw me. They asked me early on, did you bring any products you wanted to show off? And I'm like, I probably should have.
I brought some things to paint with.
I'm a very bad businessman, but I brought paint brushes and a model to paint and a good attitude to have some fun.
Yeah.
So no.
Yeah. Right. Jason caught me
He's painting with Evil Empire paints over here.
Yeah, Evil Empire.
But we'll forgive him later.
Yeah.
I'm telling him I'm buying dinner, but I'm actually going to skip the check. I'm going to go to
Big brain.
I got to go to the bathroom real quick, Scott. I'll be right back. Swear to God.
All right. Well, you're gonna have to find somewhere else to sleep then, I guess.
That's right. Damn it. I'm really bad at this game. All right.
No, see, that's just it. Is he's pretending he hasn't already planned for that. You got to plan for the whole heel turn, Scott.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm using Tooth and Coats paint right now. I was experimenting with that on these 3 Cawdor guys that I'm painting right now. And so I'm trying to use the entire range on the models, or largely on the models, so I can have a good comprehensive opinion about several of the colors, as opposed to just like, say, using 1 or 2 of them and drawing a conclusion.
Yeah, it's always tough, right?
Yeah, it's not even fair, honestly, to just paint 1 model or 3 models with the paint, because I've been using Scale 75 for 7-8 years, and like the more I use it, the more nuanced my opinion about the range becomes. And so it's like, if someone's gonna do a paint range comparison, like actually correctly, it's an insane amount of work to really understand a paint range top to bottom and have something valuable to say about it, and then also compare it to the other ones as well. That is a video that I've often thought about how to do, and just I don't want to try. It's too much work.
Jen's heading out from the chat. Says, going back to the dog. Enjoy the rest of the stream. Make sure, if there's any time before he leaves on Saturday, to get Jason a Juicy Lucy.
Oh.
A Juicy Lucy. Hey, Jen, what was the place that you said?
Matt's Bar?
I think when we were in chat.
She's from Minnesota.
On Tuesday.
Is she?
Yeah.
It was either
It's
Matt's
not fair to
or
really say
the
that
club.
because
So.
she's been in Arizona since she was like 9. But
Matt's, or I mean, we live really close to Blue Door Pub, which is another pretty great place to get some Juicy Lucy's.
I love the Blue Door, but it is not the original.
It is not, no.
But I have gotten the T-shirt for going through the whole punch card twice.
Okay, damn. Jen said Matt's or 5'8 Club. Okay, yeah.
5'8", Matt's. I think Matt's is the better experience, but they're both really good.
Yeah.
We should probably wrap it up here pretty quick, though.
We
is
should.
it getting to be that time?
It's about that
6:18.
time.
We got some dinner reservations at 7:15. That'll give us some time to kind of
Fantastic.
close it out here. Thank you, everyone, for your donations, for your questions, for hanging out and chatting. It was a lot of fun. I'm looking to definitely do this more often when I have a cool guest in town, to do a stream, not only to Twitch at the same time, but also to YouTube. Because I think it's just fun. It's just fun to get to talk to people in the industry, what their thoughts are, get to really hear them, do like live product demos. We did a lot today.
Oh, we did a lot, yeah.
It was really cool. Thank you guys for hanging out and making this part of the experience. Without the live viewership, we're just sitting here, 3 dudes in this office space, and it's awkward. Okay, so this is great. Thank you so much for your contribution.
Thanks so much. Great questions, great interaction. Appreciate it, chat.
Yeah.
Thanks for making me feel welcome in the Miniac family.
Hell yeah.
Been a great time. Love it.
And it's not the end. We're going to do a podcast episode, so be on the lookout for that on Trapped Under Plastic coming out soon. And also tomorrow, we're doing a BattleTech gaming stream only on Twitch, and we're going to be starting at 2 p.m.-ish CST time zone. So right now it's 6:20 p.m. CST. So if you're in Europe or something like that, you can do the math. But yeah, about 2 p.m. CST, about that time, he's going to show me BattleTech. It's going to be a great time.
It's going to be kicking.
Yeah. I think you're going to kick my ass. I think I gave you 2 good. I think I made your
You got one dude.
I think
so
I made
my
your
strategy is very simple, Jason.
I think that I
shoot
made
the
your
one guy.
I think I made your mechs too good too.
I'm looking forward to it. I always love
It'll be a lot of fun no matter what.
Yeah, but otherwise, guys, thanks for hanging out. We'll catch you for that stream tomorrow. Peace.
See you guys.